Hello guys and welcome to Sunday's live stream. I'm JWF1 and we are here for the 200 lap race here at Atlanta Speedway in Atlanta, Georgia for the final oval race of the season. If you didn't see what happened in qualifying yesterday, it was very interesting indeed. It was pretty much slipstream galore in qualifying, but in the end it was Red Rose Racing's Juan Pablo Montoya that went on to take his and Red Rose Racing's first ever IFMC IndyCar pole, with Max Chilton joining him alongside him on the front row. So both Montoya and Chilton, who are quite low down in the championship, well, apart from Chilton, who's doing actually quite a good job this year, managing to get on the front row. Newgarden managed to get into third. It was found out that Newgarden was ahead of Castroneves at the time, so Newgarden was third, not Castroneves, as it put it down on the results screen from yesterday. So kind of a similar situation that we had earlier in the year. But anyway, we've got 200 laps of action here at Atlanta Speedway. It should hopefully be a very exciting race indeed. So, before we start then, guys, let's mute this, turn this up a little, and let's have a look at the grid for today's race here at Atlanta Speedway, the final oval race of the season. Here we go then. So, on pole position is Juan Pablo Montoya with Max Chilton second. Joseph Newgarden lines up third with Helio Castroneves in fourth. JR Hildebrand starts fifth with Robert Wickens in sixth position. Graham Rahal starts seventh with Pietro Fittipaldi, the championship leader, in eighth. Sam Pagano starts ninth with James Hinchcliffe in 10th position. 11th goes to Gabby Chavez. 12th for Ryan Hunter-Reay in the first of the struggling e-power cars this weekend. Felix Rosenquist is in 13th with Ed Jones in 14th position. 15th on the grid is Will Power, struggling down in 15th. That's Sebastian Borda, who also struggled. He's down in 16th. Alexander Rossi struggling with his qualifying rows in 17th. Marco Andretti is 18th. Then we've got Fernando Alonso all the way down in 19th. A lot of work to do for the Spaniard today. Takuma Sato in 20th. On the back row of the grid, it is Tony Kanaan, and due to his qualifying ban, Scott Dixon is 22nd and last. And that is the grid for today's race here at Atlanta Speedway. So there is the grid then, guys, for today's race here at Atlanta Speedway, and the weather, of course, being bright and sunny. So leave your predictions, but without further ado, let's get to the 200 lap race here at Atlanta Speedway, the final oval race of the season. So, here we are then on the grid then, as soon as RE Central wakes up. There you go. So Montoya is on the left of your screens, Chilton is on the right. Who's going to get the lead down towards the first banking as you wait for the 5 red lights to go off to signify the start of the final oval race of the season. 1 light is on, 2 lights are on, 3 lights are on, 4 lights are on, 5 lights are on. And it is going for 200 laps here at Atlanta Speedway. It's a good start from Chilton, who looks like to have a better start than Montoya, going down towards the first banking. Will Chilton get the edge on Montoya going down towards the first banking now? Then they go side by side with each other. Into the first banking we go as Chilton got the edge. Down the inside he goes. Has Chilton got the lead? Montoya's still sticking with him, but Chilton has it. Chilton leads here at Atlanta. Good start from Wickens to get up to third place. Castroneves is also getting a place from Newgarden. Not been a good start from him. And Hunter-Reay's already off to 6th from 12th on the grid. An incredible start from the American to get up into 6th place. And wow, good start from him. Alonso's had a good start. He's getting 2 places from the start. And we've already lost someone, I think. We're down to 21 runners, I think. Yeah, we're down to 21 runners. Somebody is already out of the race. Who is out of the race? There's only 21 cars showing. Is somebody out of the race? We need to try and take a quick look if we can. And it's not really showing. It's Hinchcliffe. Hinchcliffe has crashed out of the first corner. What on earth has happened to the mayor of Hinchtown? We need to try and see if we can try and grab a hold of him if we can, as there's a lot of movement going down. Let's see if we can try and grab a hold of him. And well, we'll try and get to Chilton. We'll go from Chilton if we can, but I think we might have just missed him with everything that's going off. But Hinchcliffe looks like he must have got himself involved in a first lap crash. And wow, that's another retirement to the Canadians list. And yeah, it looks like we've just about missed him, unless he's already had a mechanical problem off the start. So well, whatever's happened, James Hinchcliffe looks to have got himself involved in a first corner crash, and he's out of the race, and we're already down to 21 runners here at Atlanta, as Montoya has retaken the lead from Chilton. Now then, as Newgarden grabs 4th back from Castroneves, he's also got Ryan Hunter-Reay to worry about now then as they go into the first banking. Now there are lots of fastest laps being set. It's Rossi who set a fastest lap as well. He started down in 17th. I don't know where he is at the moment, but Hunter-Reay has grabbed 5th from Helio Castroneves. That's a position gave from him. Wickens has got 2nd from Chilton, and now he's started to attack Montoya for the lead of the race. Jones is in the pits. I wonder if he got involved with a collision with Hinchcliffe, but Jones has already had to make it back to the pits, and maybe a lap down as a result. A change of front wing then for Ed Jones as Kanan and Sato are battling towards the back of the field as Wickens now leads. He's taken the lead from Juan Pablo Montoya, so Robert Wickens now leads the race, but Montoya not giving up on him now. Then as they go down the straight, heading it towards the first banking very soon. Wickens sets the fastest lap. Montoya though on the inside. Is Montoya going to re-grab the lead from Robert Wickens into the first banking as they go side by side? There's Hinchcliffe's car. He's had a rollover, so it looks like it was a crash with Ed Jones. Sadly, we can't catch it, unfortunately. So whatever's happened, whoever was the cause of it, will not be able to know. But Hinchcliffe has had a massive crash. That's another rollover this season as Montoya is in the lead again in front of Wickens. The yellow flags look to have gone, it seems, because the car is far away from the track now, so no yellow flags are visible. Chilton's got up to second. He's got in front of Wickens and now starting to attack Montoya again for the lead of the race as they come down the straight now. They're heading in towards the first banking. Now it's Cash and Evans who sets the fastest lap of the race now. Then going around the first banking now, they're on the track. Looks like that Marshall might be stuck there for a while. We'll have to wait and see if his car's still there throughout the entirety of the race. But Montoya and Chilton again going side by side with each other. Down the straight we go. Look at all the cars in the background trying to fill their way through into the first banking. We'll go through the fuel loads in a little bit now. But into the first banking we go, and Chilton has grabbed the lead there. So into the lead of the race yet again goes Max Chilton in the SIC. Montoya having to concede. Will Wickens try and get him back? Cash and Evans is up to fourth now, trying to gain onto the top for himself. He's still got Newgarden and Fittipaldi now for company. Fittipaldi getting himself into the mix. The championship leader as now down the inside goes Wickens on Chilton. Chilton's left the door open and Wickens grabs second from the Brit with ease. And now Wickens trying to retake the lead from Montoya if he can. Heading down this straight now then towards the second banking we go. Wickens on the inside. Has he got the lead from Montoya again into the second banking? And yes, he has. He gets the lead and Chilton also follows through. He gets up into second place there then to Wickens and Chilton. Into the top 10 he goes as Cash is again having to fend off from Fittipaldi. He's still trying to take fourth from him at the moment as now Chilton again on the inside of Wickens. Will Chilton re-grab the lead then from the popular Canadian? Into the first banking we go, and he has done as Hildebrand, the former championship leader, now leads the race, and they have finally cleared James Hinchcliffe's car, so his car is no longer there. But Chilton in the lead. Hildebrand, the former championship leader, has set the fastest lap of the race, so he currently holds on to the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race as Wickens back on the inside again of Max Chilton to grab the lead, and Montoya also follows through to take second place again from Chilton. So as they make their way around the banking, let's see if we can try and crash the fuel loads. 31 litres, 30.9, 32.9, 32.9 there then, 28.9, 28.8, 30.7, 28.7, 32.8, 30.8, 28.8, 26.9, 28.8, 28.9, 28.9, 28.7, 28.7, 28.7, 30.7 and 26.6, and of course 32.7. Of course Jones looks like he's changed his strategy around as Montoya again looks at the inside of Montoya. He got cut off a bit by Wickens as now Chilton wants to try and take advantage and grab the lead again as he's back up into second place. Fittipaldi has got fourth from Cash and Evans, so he gets up into fourth place. The current championship leader making progress is now Chilton on the inside again of Wickens, and he grabs the lead with no problems whatsoever. Chilton in the lead yet again of this race now, and there's Wickens still in the slipstream now then of Chilton, as meantime now then Fittipaldi trying to gain onto Montoya. He's lost a bit of time now to the top two as now Wickens again trying to find a way through on Chilton. Into the second banking we go, and now trying to find the gap on the inside. Chilton covers him off. Can Montoya try and get back at this pack if he can? He's getting closer but still not within slipstream. Cash and Evans though gets back up to fourth. Newgarden has also got the place back off Fittipaldi. Is now Cash and Evans in the slipstream now then of Juan Pablo Montoya. Can he grab third from the Colombian? Danny inside he goes, and yes he does. Cash and Evans up into third place. There he goes as Montoya having to fend off from Newgarden and Fittipaldi who are all over the back of him now then. Chilton looks like he's created a bit of a gap now between himself and Robert Wickens, but Wickens still back in the slipstream. Could find himself back to battling with the Briton a little bit. Well, in fact, I'll tell you that Cash and Evans is now on the inside of the pair of them, and he grabs second with ease. So out of nowhere, Cash and Evans up into second place as Wickens also loses the place to Montoya, so he's now down to fourth. Cash and Evans in the slipstream now. They have Max Chilton, same with Montoya as well, as now Cash and Evans is on the inside. Can Cash and Evans get the lead from Max Chilton into the second banking? And yes, he can. Up into the lead goes Cash and Evans, and through into second goes Robert Wickens as he retook the place from Montoya earlier. Look at these 6 cars now scrapping it out for the lead of the race, and it's very close between them. Nothing between them at this stage. Montoya grabs third from Chilton, so he gets down to fourth. Wickens again on the inside of Cash and Evans. Can he grab the lead from the Brazilian as they now make their way into the first banking now then? And he does. Wickens back in the lead of the race now then. Cash and Evans still trying to stick with him at the moment as Fittipaldi's on the inside of Newgarden now then, trying to grab fifth from the Target Andy Graham car. Chilton on the inside of Montoya. Cash and Evans again back at Wickens for the lead as they go side by side down towards the second banking braking on the track. Can Castaneras pull it off? No, Chilton comes out of nowhere, as does Fittipaldi, to go 3 wide. Twice on the occasion there, and Chilton now leads. Fittipaldi has got up into second place, so brilliant tactical moves there from both Chilton and Fittipaldi to find a gap on the inside of the pair of them there. So Chilton back in the leader. Will that last long now then, because Pietro Fittipaldi, who won last time out at Chicagoland to take the lead in the championship, is now on the inside into the first banking, but Chilton covers him off and holds on to the lead. Wickens in third place, getting in front of Castaneras now then, trying to get at Fittipaldi, but Castaneras looks to the inside. Castaneras still stuck in Fittipaldi's slipstream now then. Chilton's got a bit of a gap in front of Pietro at this stage into the second bank, and then through goes Wickens, so into second goes the Canadian as Montoya's on the inside of Castaneras for 4th place now then. Newgarden just watching on from the background at the moment, just probably eating a box of popcorn at this stage. Heading down the straight we go. Wickens again on the inside of Max Chilton. As they go down the start-finish straight now, they can Wickens try and grab the lead again from Max Chilton. Into the first banking we go. He's on the inside. It's going side by side through this banking now. Then has he grabbed the lead? And he has done. Wickens back in the lead here at Atlanta Speedway as Montoya, who's up into third now, trying to take full advantage as he's got Fittipaldi behind him as well. Newgarden's also gone in front of Castaneras, so Castaneras down to 6th place. Montoya now on the inside of Chilton himself, and he grabs second with ease. Back up to second goes Juan Pablo Montoya, as now Fittipaldi will try and have a look at Chilton if he can, but Chilton's still within Montoya's slipstream at this stage. Montoya though busy trying to get hold of Robert Wickens for the lead again, the man who took pole. Back on the inside of Wickens, can he try and retake the lead from the Canadian now then as they make their way into the first banking, and he does so. He is in the lead, but Chilton's also taking advantage. Found a gap on the inside of the pair of them, and Chilton makes his way into the lead yet again. So Chilton again leading at Atlanta Speedway as they make their way down the straight now then into the second banking. We're already on lap 13 of 200 then here at Atlanta Speedway. It will soon be lap 14 once they cross the line. Wickens takes second for Montoya, so back up to second goes Robert Wickens, using the momentum to get back on the prowl of Chilton yet again in this race. Heading down the straight we go. So he tries to find a way through. Look at the top 6 now, continuing to squabble at the moment. Wickens on the inside of Max Chilton now then. This is going to be the lead again for the Canadian as he goes down the inside. Chilton still trying to stick with him around the outside, and he has to give up. Wickens back in the lead of the race. Montoya, who's back up to third, trying to take advantage of Newgarden's on the inside of Fittipaldi for 4th place as Montoya trying to get in the slipstream of Chilton. Looks like Chilton's still stuck in Wickens' slipstream as Newgarden has grabbed 4th from Fittipaldi. He's going to try and go around the outside of Juan Pablo Montoya. It'll be an impressive move. He pulls this one off around the outside. Then goes Joseph Newgarden. Can he pull the move off as he goes side by side with each other now? Then Montoya still sticking with Chilton's slipstream. Chilton still on Wickens' slipstream. Montoya just able to hold on for the moment. Can Chilton try and retake the lead from Robert Wickens heading down this start-finish straight now then? Not able to do so. Covers off Montoya, who then finds a gap on the inside into the first banking. Chilton covers him off there as Fittipaldi re-grabs 4th from Newgarden. So back up to 4th goes Pietro Fittipaldi as he's now got the momentum. Castaneras just watching on from the background it seems, as now Chilton tries again at Robert Wickens in front of him now. Then Chilton on the inside. Can he try and pull the move off as he's trying to go side by side? In fact, Montoya is side by side with Chilton himself going into the second banking as Chilton tries to find a gap on the inside of Robert Wickens, and it doesn't look like he's going to pull off at the moment. Montoya's still stuck behind Chilton at this stage, and Castaneras is still trying to catch back up at the moment. Wickens now then looks like he's got a bit of a gap now between himself and Montoya because Chilton's busy trying to fend off from Juan Pablo Montoya. Heading into the first banking we go. Montoya in the slipstream. He's going to look to the inside. Will Montoya grab second from Max Chilton into the first banking? And yes, he has. Montoya back up into second place. Montoya though in the slipstream now then of Robert Wickens. Heading down the straight we go. Can Montoya try and take full advantage? He's going to look to the inside. Can he pull the move off? Down the inside he goes, and yes he has. Montoya back in the lead of the race now then, and back in the lead of the race goes the Colombian as he makes his way around the second banking now then to complete another lap. Wickens though has not given up on him now then at this stage. Fittipaldi's down to 6th place now as Castaneras and Newgarden gain places from him. Down the inside goes Wickens, and that's the lead retaken again from the Canadian. Robert Wickens back in the lead of the race as Newgarden tries to go down the inside of Max Chilton for 3rd place now then, and Chilton covers him off. Castaneras tries to take advantage. There's a car on the right, and that is Felix Rosenqvist. Rosenqvist has got involved in an incident. Are we able to catch it? No, we can't. He seems to be stuck there, and it looks like Robert Wickens is going to Felix Rosenqvist is going to be out of the race, and he looks like somebody must have taken him out unseen by the cameras. Felix Rosenqvist is out of the race. There goes the pack going past him now then, as it looks like Rosenqvist's race is going to come to an end now then. And we'll see if the marshals will tow him out in a bit, but it does appear that Rosenqvist is going to be stuck there for a while, and the marshals will have to clear him off. But that looks like it's going to be one Red Rose Racing car out of the race. Just one remains, and that's the man who's currently fighting for the lead, Juan Pablo Montoya, as Rosenqvist tries to get going, but it just seems there's too many cars going by. He might as well just give up and just let the marshals just tow it away. And it looks like it's going to be race over in a bit then for Felix Rosenqvist. We'll try and get back to the battle for the lead now then, as Wickens still leads, but look at Castaneras now then on the inside of Montoya. Can he get second? Yes, he can. He grabs second. Can he also grab the lead from Wickens? No, not quite. As they now head down the straight now, there we go. As Castaneras now heading down the straight. Can Castaneras pull this one off as Chilton tries to have a go at Montoya for third? As now down the inside goes Helio Castaneras, and he does it. Into the lead of the race again goes Helio Castaneras, but through again, very sneaky again, is Max Chilton. He grabs the lead, and Chilton yet again in the lead of the race. No yellow flags where Rosenqvist are. Clearly he's on the outer line where the yellow flags are not needed, as Castaneras back on the inside again of Max Chilton, and he grabs the lead with ease, as does Wickens to grab second. So into the lead of the race goes Helio Castaneras in the EMR, as he now makes his way down the pit straight now then. And there you go, Felix Rosenqvist is out of the race. The marshals are now towing him. Felix Rosenqvist out of the race, and we're down to 20 runners here at Atlanta Speedway. As meantime now then, Chilton tries to have a go at Wickens. Wickens covers him off at the moment, as Montoya and Newgarden fight it out. Pietro Fittipaldi's now lost time to these guys, heading down the straight now then, and here comes Wickens again on the back of Castaneras. Can Wickens pull the move off as they make their way into the first banking? Down the inside goes Robert Wickens, and there you go, into the lead of the race again goes Wickens in the Adrenaline Motorsport car P1 for the Canadian, as Wickens retakes the lead of the race now as they make their way down the straight towards the first banking now they're on the track. As going down the inside again goes Helio Castaneras, and he retakes the lead again from Wickens. So back in the lead of the race goes the Honda Power EMR of Helio Castaneras. Heading down the straight again, Wickens on the inside going down this back straight. They're getting close to some traffic, in fact, that's in front. I think that might be Ed Jones in front of them, because he had to make a pit stop to repair a front wing after an unseen collision with James Hinchcliffe. Heading through the final banking, and Wickens re-grabs the lead again from Castaneras. So Wickens in the lead again here at Atlanta Speedway as they make their way down the straight towards the first banking on the track now then. So now they go around there, and down the inside goes Chilton. So Chilton takes advantage and gets up into second as Montoya retakes fourth from Joseph Newgarden now then, as the pair of them slowly but surely closing back in on the top three, and Fittipaldi just losing time continuously from the top five now then, as Max Chilton trying to look to the inside of Wickens, but it looks like Castaneras is taking advantage. He's on the outside of Chilton, isn't able to get through, trying to hang it around the outside if he can, and Chilton's still there on the inside, but Castaneras has pulled off a beautiful move to get up into second place. Castaneras back into P2 as he now tries to get hold of Wickens for the lead of the race again, using the momentum to get on the inside. Has he grabbed the lead again from Robert Wickens? And he has. Castaneras again retakes the lead here at Atlanta Speedway as he looks to try and get his first ever IFMC IndyCar win, as now going around the first banking he goes, as now he goes down the straight. Wickens on the inside now then, can he retake the lead again from Castaneras? And he does. Wickens again in the lead of the race as he makes his way around the second banking now then as they go down the straight. Castaneras still not giving up. The top two have pretty much broke away as now Montoya has got up to third to get in front of Chilton. Up to P3 goes the Colombian. Newgarden also looking at Chilton if he can, as the top two have broke away. Castaneras again on the inside of Wickens. Has he got the lead from the Canadian now then? Side by side got a pair of them, and he has done. Castaneras again back in the lead of the race here at Atlanta Speedway in Atlanta, Georgia, Now going down the straight we go, up towards the second banking. We will soon go on the racetrack now then. Into the second banking, can he try? And he looks like Wickens is a little bit too far back that time around from Cashneris. Chilton has re-grabbed third from Montoya. Has Newgarden also followed through? No, he hasn't. Newgarden still trying to have a look, but Montoya has the edge on him. At this stage, Wickens trying to get back in the slipstream of Helio Cashneris as we now start lap 25 of 200 then here at Atlanta Speedway. The laps coming down pretty quickly around this track, it must be said, with all the battling that's going on. And sooner than later, we probably should expect the first round of pit stop to come very soon. Wickens tried to have a go. Cashneris covers him off as Montoya and Chilton still fight it out for third place. Heading down the straight we go now then. Wickens on the inside again of Helio Cashneris into the final banking. Can he pull the move off again? And yes, he does. Wickens back in the lead of the race in front of Helio Cashneris. Can Cashneris try and get him back down the pit straight now then? And around the corners we go now then. Can Cashneris pull it off? Down the inside we go. Can Cashneris retake the lead from Robert Wickens? And he can. Cashneris again in the lead of the race now then, as they make their way around the first banking on the track. Cashneris yet again leading the way as Wickens tries to get hold of Cashneris again. Down the straight we go as Newgarden has taken fourth from Montoya. So up into fourth goes Joseph Newgarden as he's right in the slipstream of Max Chilton. Wickens on the inside again of Cashneris, and Robert Wickens retakes the lead yet again of the race as they make their way around the second banking. Heading down the straight we will soon go on the racetrack, and Cashneris again on the inside of Robert Wickens. As we look at the fuel loads, they've got around about 12 to 14 litres left. Cashneris is running a little bit less than what Wickens is running at this stage, around about 2 litres less than what the Canadian's running, as he goes down the inside again on Robert Wickens as he re-grabbed the lead from the Canadian. And yes, he has. Into the lead again goes Helio Cashneris, getting in front of Robert Wickens. And the pair of them still not giving up on each other. Chilton still quite a bit back now then from the top two as they now make their way around the second banking now then, as they come down the pit straight, as Wickens a little bit too far back that time by to get hold of Cashneris. Probably going to have to wait now then for the second straight on the track, as now they make their way around the banking. Somebody has set the fastest lap. It just flashed up for a bit. We'll try and see if we can try and catch it. And it's Marco Andretti, Robert Wickens' teammate, who sets the fastest lap of the race at 28.179. So he now holds on to the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. Chilton again, side by side with Montoya as they fight it out for third place. Montoya retook the place from Newgarden, and now he's attacking Chilton for third place around the second banking. Chilton's just going to hold on into this second banking as Wickens looks to have lost time a bit now then to Helio Cashneris, the new race leader here at Atlanta Speedway, as Newgarden tries to watch on this battle that's going on for third place at this stage of the race. Montoya again in the slipstream of Max Chilton. Can he try and pull the move off into the first banking now? Then we go, and just a little bit too far back that time by for Juan Pablo Montoya. Into the first banking we go as Newgarden again trying to get onto him as Fittipaldi has caught back on, as has Hunter-Reay, and Andretti and Chavez are not that far behind, so it's turning into a big scrap for third place very soon, with the top two breaking away from Chilton. As now heading down this back straight we go now then into the second banking. We will soon go then on the racetrack as down the inside again goes on Montoya, and he grabs the third place with ease. Up into third goes Montoya as it looks like Fittipaldi's also trying to follow through as well into the banking. A lot of cars surrounding Chilton around this banking now then, and Fittipaldi has grabbed the place. Up to fourth goes Pietro Fittipaldi as now Newgarden starting to attack Chilton again for fifth place and able to find a way through. Nor can Hunter-Reay at the moment as Chavez grabs eighth from Marco Andretti, as Pagano, as in fact a lot of cars are starting to form behind this battle that's maybe about to happen. As down inside goes Fittipaldi on Montoya, so up into third place goes championship leader Pietro Fittipaldi. P3 for him there then, as they slowly but surely starting to close up on the top two again. Still not within slipstream range at this stage, but they're getting quite close to Montoya. Down the inside of Fittipaldi again, and he grabs third place with ease, and Montoya back up to third as he tries to close in onto Wickens. He's not that far behind him now then to get himself back in a position where he can fight for the lead of the race, as they all start another lap now then into the first banking. We will now go on the racetrack. We're 5 minutes away from the 1:30 mark. For anybody wondering, as Will Power is into the pits. Is this a scheduled stop for the Australian as we try and get to him? And we're trying everything we can. There he is, and it does look like a scheduled stop, I would presume, and it does look to be a scheduled stop for Will Power, as yes, it is a scheduled stop for him. So no such worries there then for the Australian as he comes into the pits this lap for a scheduled stop. Into the pits then comes the Australian to make his scheduled stop. There are the Eldorado mechanics getting ready for him. So the first round of pit stops are now officially underway as Power pulls into his box as the mechanics get to work on his car there then as everybody else goes through on him there then as Kanaan also coming into the pits, you just saw there. So Tony Kanaan also now then into the pits. So Will Power serving his stop, as does Tony Kanaan, and that's that really as Cashano is still continuing to lead the way at this stage as they come down the straight. As Kanaan into the pits for SIC, so both of them making their pit stops. How far away are these guys from making a pit stop? Probably not that far away, but we'll wait and see. As Fittipaldi still in third place at the moment. Montoya still trying to attack the Brazilian now then as he goes down the inside into the first banking as they lap the guys in the pits. Remember, of course, because it's an oval, if people get lapped, don't think they're going to be lapped for the remainder of the race. As Fittipaldi very close there to getting to Will Power, but he's on the inside of Wickens and he grabs second place. Up into second place goes Pietro Fittipaldi, the championship leader. Up into second place, he now tries to attack the race leader Helio Castroneves as he now goes up towards the second banking. He's in the slipstream. Can Fittipaldi grab the lead from his fellow compatriot? Danny inside he goes, and yes he does. Pietro Fittipaldi leads at Atlanta Speedway as he now make their way around the second banking. He's into the pits, comes Helio Castroneves. He's bailed out for his scheduled stop, so Helio into the pits this time by to get out of the chaos that's happening on the track. So Helio Castroneves into the pits this time by as Wickens and Montoya fight it out for second place. Looks like Andretti's coming into the pits very soon, judging from the indicator on Wickens' cockpit. As New Guns in for target Andy Graham as up into second place goes Juan Pablo Montoya, and that's position gained for him there then as Andretti is in the box this time by making his scheduled stop. Same for New Gun and Ray Hall. And of course Castroneves, who's just finished his pit stop now then as he makes his way down pit lane, and let's see where this will make him come out. Looks like one of the e-power cars is into the pits, not quite sure which one that is, as Andretti is also into the pits. Ray Hall in for Martini Inertia, the only Martini in the race because Hinchcliffe retired thanks to a lap 1 crash. As now, where is Castroneves going to emerge? Remember, he will be a lap down because it is an oval. I don't think he's going to be a lap down for the remainder of the race. As there is Jones as New Gun, as you can see from his indicator, is still in the pits at this stage. Castroneves rejoins in 11th in front of the leaders who are about to lap him, but don't think that's going to be like that for a while. As Fittipaldi with great response time, finding a gap on the exit and putting a car briefly between himself and Robert Wickens, but Wickens has now finally filtered a way through. It was Alonso for E-Power that was in the pits at that point. Dixon also came in for Eldorado. So he's just finished his scheduled stop. Bourdais also came in as well for Yamaha. Into the pits comes Robert Wickens for Adrenaline Motorsport, so he's bailing out. Robert Wickens now then into the pits for Adrenaline as there's a load of cars in the pits. Montoya also bailing out, so he's coming in this lap. Fittipaldi still continuing on at this stage of the race as Castroneves will lap himself at the expense of those two. He was five guys he was fighting with. As Pagano also in for Silicon Valley Racing, so Simon Pagano in the pits at this time, and that's that really as far as he is concerned. Ryan Hunter-Ray now into the pits for E-Power as we ride on board with the Macamo of Pietro Fittipaldi, and he's still staying out. Where are the rest of the guys where Castroneves is as they now come down the pit straight now then, and there are some of the guys there then that Castroneves might have got leapfrogged by, as there is Simon Pagano. He's going to get through on him, but that looks like Wickens has got in front of him. So Wickens gets in front unless Castroneves can go around the outside because they're still building up the speed. Castroneves gets by on him, but not on Montoya, who's a little bit further forward than him now then. So Montoya has got the jump on him now then as he goes through. And he also managed to get the jump on Wickens as well. So Wickens losing time in the pits as a result. As Castroneves now makes his way around the banking as he tries to get on those guys. Into the pits comes Pietro Fittipaldi. The temporary race leader is in. Now, can it be the lead once he makes his pit stop? As he trundles down pit lane. Anybody else in the pits along with him? Chilton also in as well. He was also in the battle. So Max Chilton into the pits. It leaves Pietro's teammate, Cavi Chavez, to temporarily lead the race. And he's still yet to make a pit stop, let's not forget. We'll look at Montoya for this as he makes his way around the first banking and see if he will able to still be in front of Pietro once he makes his pit stop. Same with Helio Cascianeres, who's starting to close in on him again for that position in front. And now they go into the second banking very soon. Ed Jones in, this time for a scheduled start rather than the unscheduled one for a new front wing. As now let's see, as Montoya comes down the pit straight, where are Chilton and Fittipaldi. That's somebody coming out. Is that Fittipaldi? And it is Fittipaldi. He's got quite a lead, but speed still builds up at this stage. Montoya is going to get through on Chilton, but Fittipaldi's got enough of a gap, has he? Montoya getting closer to him, but I think Fittipaldi's going to stay in front unless Montoya can get the slipstream down this straight. Montoya could still be in the lead of the race now then as they go into the second banking. Montoya on the inside of Fittipaldi. Can he pull the move off? And yes, he does. Montoya up into what will be second place, but it will be the lead once Gary Chavez makes his pit stop. And I think Chavez, is he now in the pits? Yes, he is. He's just finished his pit stop. In fact, he could feed into this battle. He's not even that far away. Now then, he will lose the lead because the speed will still have to build up. Well, Montoya will be in the lead, but where will Chavez emerge after this battle as Montoya goes around the outside of him to take the lead of the race, as does his teammate Fittipaldi, as will Cascianeres in the EMR. But Chavez looks like he's got a big enough gap to stay in front of Robert Wickens for the meantime. And yeah, so it's fourth place now then for Gabby Chavez. Macamo have got both their cars in the top four, so impressive stuff. In the meantime, one of the Macamo cars is fighting for the lead again as Fittipaldi retakes the lead from Juan Pablo Montoya into the second banking. So back in the lead of the race goes Pietro Fittipaldi, but Montoya has not given up on him now then as I go down the straight in towards the first banking, as we've just passed the 1:30 mark. For anybody wondering, 2 minutes above that now as Montoya has retaken the lead again from Pietro Fittipaldi as they now make their way down the straight yet again in this race. Down the inside again goes Pietro Fittipaldi on Juan Pablo Montoya as they go side by side of each other up towards the second banking. We will go on the track. Around this banking we go. Can Fittipaldi pull the move off down the inside? And has he got the move done? Yes, he has. Back in the lead of the race goes Pietro Fittipaldi in the Macamo car there then. So Fittipaldi gets himself back in front in this race as they now go up towards the first banking on the track. As meantime, Montoya unable to get him back into the first banking that time by, but preparing himself for the second banking as he's in the slipstream again on Fittipaldi. Down the inside he goes. Can Montoya yet again pull the move on to go side by side with each other up towards the second banking? We will soon go on the track. Side by side they go. Has Montoya re-grabbed the lead from Pietro Fittipaldi as they go side by side with each other now. Then round the banking we go. And yes, he has. Montoya back in the lead of the race and getting in front of Pietro Fittipaldi. Cascianeres a little bit too far back to challenge the top two at this stage. Fittipaldi losing a bit of time now to Juan Pablo Montoya, who now takes the lead of the race yet again and looking for his first victory in IFMC IndyCar. And now going around this first banking, but we still expect the second round of stops to appear in the towards the end of the lap 100 zone, near the lap 100 zone, as we're on lap 41 of 200 now in here at Atlanta Speedway. So specifically, we now have 160 laps to go in the race. Around the second banking we go. Montoya still comfortably leading the race now then, as he's got a comfortable lead now in front of Fittipaldi. Doesn't need to worry too much about slipstream from the Brazilian, although he is still trying to gain back onto him at this stage. You can just tell from the onboard camera of Pietro as now he makes his way around this first banking now. They're on the track heading down the straight now then we will go. As now into the second banking we will soon go on the track. As Fittipaldi still trying to get hold of Montoya in front of him now at this stage. And so now heading down the straight we will soon go on the racetrack. And Fittipaldi now then coming up towards the first banking now there on the racetrack. And as he will now head down the straight, and Fittipaldi not close enough at this stage to try and get on Montoya at the moment. And as through goes Cascianeres, he's got second place from Fittipaldi. So very much unsighted from me there. Cascianeres gets up into second place. He passes him into the second banking, and there's your reason. He's got an engine failure. The championship leader has got a problem. An engine failure has taken care of Pietro Fittipaldi. Oh, what a shame. After picking up his first ever victory at Chicagoland Speedway last weekend and taking the lead in the championship, his engine has blown up and Pietro Fittipaldi is going to be out of the race, and that could give huge implications in the Drivers' Championship. We could have another lead change in the Drivers' Championship now, thanks to his engine blowing up. Pietro Fittipaldi is going to be out of the race and will be down to 19 runners here at Atlanta Speedway as his Honda engine blows up in smoke. And, well, Fittipaldi is going to be out of the race. Remember last season when there were problems for Helio Castroneves and for Sebastian Bourdais, and EMR thought they were out of the championship fight, but then the chaos at Watkins Glen happened and they got back into it. So don't think that Fittipaldi may be out of it, because we could still have that chaos of a race at Watkins Glen next week, as now Fittipaldi still going around the moment. The engine has not ceased yet, as he still continues to go around the track. Now Montoya's got quite a bit of a lead now, it must be said, as now the engine has now died off for Pietro Fittipaldi, and it is going to be race over as it's now caught fire. As you can see, there's flames now coming off the back of the Macamo car, and Fittipaldi is going to be, as mentioned, out of the race and will be down to 19 runners here at Atlanta Speedway as the fire continues to blow out the back of the car. They're going to need a fire extinguisher with that car, that's for sure. And it's still quite going at a reasonable speed, it must be said, but Fittipaldi's race has now come to an end. He pulls off, he realises the fire is there as he's near a fire marshal to put out the fire. Pietro Fittipaldi out, and we're down to 19 runners, and as a result we could now see a lead change in the Drivers' Championship thanks to his retirement, as he now gets hoisted across the track. Who will lead the championship, I am not 100% sure at the moment. I know Alonso is 10 points behind, but he's not currently in the top 10. He's still kind of struggling in this race, it must be said. Down the field at this stage, he could lead it, but I'm having to look as well at what Simon Pagenaud and J.R. Hildebrand are doing, and same with Max Chilton. He's in 5th in the championship at this stage. Alonso's down in 16th, so he's not really making that much progress at the moment. Simon Pagenaud currently 4th, so he could take the lead in the Drivers' Championship if it stays like this, I think. Yes, if it stays like this, I think Pagenaud will lead the championship, but we'll wait and see on that, as now the top 4 have kind of separated themselves, as Montoya's now got quite a comfortable lead in front of Helio Castroneves, as also as Chavez, now the only Macamo car lead in the race, is now in 3rd, with Pagenaud in 4th position. Chilton not that far behind in 5th, and so that's that really. But there we are really as far as they are concerned, as Montoya now then just going around the second banking as he continues to lead the way at the moment as he starts another lap. And of course last season we had the shocking winner of Esteban Gutierrez when he was racing with Fantire Racing. He's no longer in IFMC IndyCar, but he won here last season after a very impressive performance from the Mexican to grab victory here at Atlanta. And well, I don't think we'll ever see that quite happen again. Montoya now on lap 48 of 200 then here at Atlanta Speedway. So we have specifically 153 laps remaining, and so Montoya doing quite a good job at the front, but there's still quite a long way to go. We're still yet to get through the second round of stops in this race, so a little bit too early to say at this stage, but anything could happen in racing, and it usually does, as Montoya now then makes his way around the first banking now then on the track, as he makes his way down the straight, and then he will soon approach the second banking very soon now then, as Chilton now starting to fall back again from Simon Pagenaud, looking a little bit quiet now down in the 5th place, as now they go into the second banking as Pagenaud tries to get on the prow of Gabby Chavez in front for 3rd place as they make their way down the start finish straight. And so Pagenaud now then just going up towards the first banking, and so as he tries to catch up to the guys in front of him at this stage. And so now around these corners we go, and so just going around the banking, we will soon go on the racetrack as they make their way down the straight. Pagenaud trying to get up to the back of Chavez, but at the moment still quite a bit far back at this stage, as Wickens and it looks like everybody kind of separated apart from this scrap for 9th place between Hunter Ray and Ray Hall at the moment. Hunter Ray on the inside. Has he got the place from Ray Hall? And yes, he has. Up into ninth place goes the American. As the two Fantaris scrap it out for 11th. Rossi on the inside of Sato. There's Bourdais and Newgarden. As Newgarden, in fact, has lost a lot of time in the pits. He's all the way down in 15th. So he's lost quite a bit of time, it must be said. He's way out of the picture, so he's all the way down in 15th position. Made that 14th because he's now about to pass Bourdais. But yeah, he's lost a lot of time in the pits. He's now outside the picture. He must have got really held up in the pits, it must be said, to make his way all the way down in that position. So disappointment there then for Target Andy Graham. As far as they're concerned, their season is going from bad to worse. After showing some signs of strong progress in pre-season testing, it hasn't come to fruition this season so far. And well, the team currently finding themselves, I think, near last in the team's championship. And well, I think actually they are last in the team's championship, it must be said, after both crashing each other out last weekend at Atlanta Speedway. And well, and it looks like the championship is getting slimmer for both Jones and Newgarden. Newgarden pretty much out of all of them, between Bourdais and Newgarden, you'd have to say Newgarden's had the worst bad luck out of the two of them, because Newgarden hasn't achieved a victory. His highest finish this year is 6th, and most of the season he's just been retiring from the race. He's just not had the luck he's wanted, and so far this race he's just had a bad pit stop, and it looks like more bad luck is going to continue for the American. And well, when will Joseph Newgarden ever catch a break this season? As well, he's just not had a season to remember, has he? Joseph Newgarden, who was in the championship fight last season when he was at Martini Energia, moved to Target Andy Graham Racing, and while the signs were looking good, he just hasn't been able to deliver the results so far this season. A lot of bad luck has come his way, and well, it's just been a head scratcher for team boss Andy Graham, it must be said. As meantime, we now look at Juan Pablo Montoya, as he's now about to start another lap, as he continues to build lead out in front, as he's now on lap 54 of 200 then here at Atlanta Speedway. So we now have specifically 147 laps remaining, as the laps continue to come down quite quickly around this race, it must be said, as we're 18 minutes away from the 2 o'clock mark for anybody wondering. So now into the second banking now, then we will go on the racetrack. Castro is still quite a bit far back now then from Montoya, probably just settling himself down into a little bit of a rhythm at this stage as they make their way down the straight, approaching the first banking very soon on the racetrack. Through the first banking we go, and so now just going around that banking as they will make their way down the straight. So now up towards that first banking we will soon go again. Sorry, the second banking. Castaneda's still quite a bit back at this stage. So now they will make their way down the straight. So Castaneda is still quite a bit back, same with Chavez and Pagenaud. Pagenaud still not really getting onto Chavez as much as he would have anticipated at the moment in the Silicon Valley Racing. And they're still yet to achieve a victory this season in Simon Pagenaud, but looking quite good at the moment to possibly take the lead in the Drivers' Championship. But we'll wait and see on that. It's been quite a good year for them, it must be said, as now they go down the straight. And Pagenaud now then still trying to cling on to the back of Gabby Chavez at the moment as they make their way round the second banking on the track. As now they go down the straight. There's Pagenaud now then trying to get as close as possible, not close enough at this stage, but looked like he had a little bit more of a drive coming out of that second banking than what Chavez did at that time, as now they will approach the first banking on the track. Around this first banking we go, as now they'll make their way down the long straight very soon. And Pagenaud still trying to see if he can try and get a podium in this race. Remember, we're still yet to get to the second round of pit stops very soon in this race, so this could still shake things up in the leaderboard. I mean, it did in the first start. I mean, look at Newgarden, for God's sake, he's all the way down in 14th now then, and way down the field after battling for the lead before the pit stops. Anything can happen during the pit stops, and usually it does around oval tracks, it must be said, because of how chaotic it is. And now into the first banking now then we will go, and they will soon make their way down the straight very soon. And well, Pagenaud still trying to cling on to the back of Chavez if he can, as they will now make their way into the second banking. Let's see if we can try and get a drive out of this banking very soon. And as they will make their way down the straight, and Pagano still trying to put some pressure on Chavez if he can. Obviously Chavez is the only Mikama car left. We've only just joined this Fittipaldi, the championship leader, retiring from the race thanks to a fiery engine. We've had 3 retirements. We had James Hinchcliffe, who had an unseen huge crash with Ed Jones. Ed Jones had to make a temporary stop to get his front wing repaired. We then had a retirement from Felix Rosenquist, who looked to be taken now. And there's another car on the side that looks to be a target, Andy Graham. And oh, well, more bad luck. It's Joseph Newgarden who retires thanks to another engine failure. His Chevrolet engine has gone bang. He parks up at exactly the same place where Pietro Fittipaldi pulled off earlier on today. And, well, Joseph Newgarden, his bad luck just continues. Joseph Newgarden out of the race, and we're down to 18 runners here at Atlanta Speedway. And, well, his bad luck just keeps on getting worse and worse and worse. And that is surely possibly going to put him out of the championship fight for sure. If it wasn't already, it is now. So now here is Juan Pablo Montoya now then, just going around the second banking as he makes his way down the straight. Confirmation that Joseph Newgarden is out of the race, and we're now down to 18 runners. His bad luck and his miserable season continues, and so now Montoya up towards the first banking. Now they're on the track as he now makes his way down the straight now then, as he continues to lead the way quite comfortably from Helio Castroneves. We're back now then with Simon Pagano as he now makes his way down this back straight before approaching the second banking. As Pagano still trying to close up onto the backside of Gabby Chavez for third place. As I was saying as well, we had James Hinchcliffe who retired thanks to crashing the car and rolling over. We also have had who else have we had out of the race? We've also had I'm trying to think now. We also had Felix Rosenquist, who looked to have been taken out at this corner here, which is possibly why you can see the tyre marks are there, and possibly had to retire because of looks like he got himself beached on the wall and couldn't get going due to the amount of traffic that was there. And then we had a retirement from Pietro Fittipaldi thanks to a fire engine, and then just now we've had another engine failure thanks to the courtesy of Joseph Newgarden. So 4 retirements. We're now down to 18 runners here at Atlanta Speedway, and there's still quite a bit to go yet in this race. We're now on lap 62, I think, if I'm correct. Yes, we're on lap 62 now of 200 here at Atlanta Speedway. So specifically, we now have 139 laps remaining here at Atlanta. 139 laps to go. 39 laps until we get to the lap 100 mark here at Atlanta, and we are 12 minutes away now then from the 2 o'clock mark. And for anybody wondering, of course, time and the laps as well going very quickly around this track, it must be said, and a lot quicker than we've had for quite a while, as Pagano's still trying to get all to the back of Gabby Chavez at the moment, as he now makes his way down this straight heading into the first banking on the racetrack. And so now around the course he goes, around the first banking, and as he will soon go down the straight as he tries to get onto the backside of Gabby Chavez in front of him at the moment, as he will soon approach the second banking. And as now they will soon go down the straight, as Pagano now then just going down this straight. Now they're on the track, and let's see what the gap is like actually between him and Chavez. It was half a second last time by. Let's see if that has changed on this lap now then, as they make the way into the first banking. So around the first banking now then we go on the racetrack, and the gap being, let's have a look, as it soon processes. It's still half a second, so nothing really changed at this stage between the pair of them. Pagano still trying to keep it on. In the meantime, Hunter-Reay has now fought himself in a battle with Max Chilton. Chilton on the inside now then of Ryan Hunter-Reay. He looks to try and grab 5th from the E-Power car, which he does. Back up to 5th place goes Max Chilton. Hunter-Reay having a cracking race after only qualifying 12th yesterday. Now as they go down the straight, will Hunter-Reay try and pull the move off on Max Chilton as they go side by side of each other up towards the first banking now. Then side by side go the pair. Then is Hunter Ray going to try and retake the lead then from Max Chilton. Up towards the first banking we go, as they will go alongside each other now. Then side by side they go. Is Hunter Ray going to pull the move off? And yes, he is. Up into 5th place goes Ryan Hunter Ray in the e-Power car. And Chilton immediately loses the place there then to Ryan, as he tries to gain onto the guys in front of him, Pagano and Chavez, who look to try and fight out for the final podium places. Danny inside on Chilton, goes Robert Wickens, so he gains a place. Robert Wickens up into 6th place as he gains the move, as he now gets onto the backside now then of Ryan Hunter Ray for what will be 5th place, as he goes Danny inside of him now then. Will Robert Wickens pull the move off as they make their way into the first banking now then on the racetrack? Is Wickens going to pull the move off? Danny inside he goes into the first banking. Is it going to be P5 for Robert Wickens? Chilton just watching on from the background now then, as Wickens got the place. I think he might have. Hunter Ray though still sticking with him, not giving up, as they now make their way around the corner, and Wickens still there. Hunter Ray is also still alongside him now then into the second banking, as they will now continue to go side by side, but Wickens has the edge, I think, which he does. So up into 5th place there then goes Robert Wickens in the adrenaline car now then, the Chevy powered adrenaline, up into P5, as Chilton still continuing to watch on as a spectator. Well, I say that, of course, Wickens is in the pits, and it's a scheduled stop, so Wickens is the first man to make a second stop in this race, as Power looks like he's also pitting. Oh, Dixon is one of the two Eldorados is coming in this time by, so the second round of stops are now underway, as Wickens trundles down pit lane. Which Eldorado is that in the pit lane with him? And so now he will come into pit lane now then at this point. I'll be very interested to see. It's Dixon, so Dixon is the one into the pits, and we're kind of getting close. We're pretty much now, for these guys, getting close to that second pit stop of the race now then, as we look at race leader Juan Pablo Montoya, and he now makes his way around the second banking. And just a confirmation, it is Scott Dixon who is now into the pits at this stage, as Montoya now then goes down the pit straight now then, heading into the first banking, and so just going around the banking he goes, and so now he will go down this long straight now then before approaching the second banking, and just really putting his foot down now then into the second banking. We will go on the racetrack, as they will soon come down the straight, and so down the straight we go now then. Montoya still continuing to lead the race now then, as they make their way up towards the first banking on the racetrack, as Pagano now then for Silicon Valley Racing is into the pits, as Chilton grabs the lead back, grabs the place back of Ryan Hunter Ray, so he gets by on the e-Power car. Pagano in at this time, same with who is that in the background? That would be Chilton, is it? Is that Chilton behind him? And no, it's Sato, I do apologise. It's Fantoy, I'm trying to think there. But Pagano in, looking to try and get the jump on Gabby Chavez if he can. Will Power and Sebastian Bourdais also into the pits at this time. And here is Juan Pablo Montoya about to start another lap, and still yet to make a second stop at this stage. And confirmation that Power is just coming to the pits. Same with Bourdais as well in the EMR. As now up towards the first banking we will now go, and confirmation that Takumi Sato is into the pits for Fantari Racing, as Montoya is coming into the pits at the end of this lap then. So Montoya coming into the pits, Cash Nevers isn't, he's going to be staying out for about a few more laps, so he will take the lead temporarily, as his teammate is still in the pits, Sebastian Bourdais. Around the banking now then goes Montoya, and he will soon pull to the left, which he does. Into the pits then goes Juan Pablo Montoya from the lead of the race, so into the pit lane now then he goes, as the Red Rose Racing mechanics get to work on his car now then, as he slows it down to the minimum speed limit, as his mechanics are the only ones in the pit lane at this point. So where is Montoya going to feed out then after this pit stop? Keep an eye on Robert Wickens as well, he could have a say, as it looks like Ryan Hunter Ray is coming into the pits at this stage. And E-Power is coming into the pits. No, in fact, it's Alonso who's coming in, so it's not Ryan Hunter Ray. So apologies in that regard. But Cash Norris is temporarily now then in the lead of the race, as now we go into the second banking. Confirmation that Fernando Alonso, the nearest rival to Pietro Fittipaldi, coming into this race into the pits, as is Tony Kanaan of SIC. So we are 5 minutes away now then from the 2 o'clock mark, as they now make the way down this straight now then into the second banking. We will soon go. So now we are on lap 72 of 200. Cashineris is coming into the pits at the end of this lap now then, so we have 129 laps remaining here at Atlanta Speedway, as Cashineris will be coming into the pits this time by for his scheduled stop. Around the second banking he goes, and we'll be seeing him make a pit stop now then. He'll peel to the left very soon, which he does. Into the pits now then comes Helio Cashineris from the temporary lead of the race. Chavez is also joining in from Macamo, as does Ryan Hunter of EPAL, as does Max Chilton of SIC, and as will Graham Rahal and JL Hildebrand and Alexander Rossi to the top 7, all coming into the pits at this point. We need to keep an eye on them, of course, especially Cashineris. Montoya rejoined in 9th, I think, still in front of Robert Wickens, I think. Yes, Robert Wickens still quite a long way back down in 12th, so everybody's into the pits at this point. As Montoya now then, let's see where those guys in the pits will emerge compared to this guy who we're now looking at. Montoya now then just going around the first banking as he pushes hard, as he looks to try and get his first ever IFMC IndyCar win. And now into the second banking we will go on the racetrack. Hunter Ray in the pits. So now Rossi also in as well, just a confirmation. Heading down the straight, as is Andretti of Adrenaline. Where are those guys now? There's Ryan Boy Montoya. There are some of them in front who have just come out. Remember, they're only just starting to build up the speed, so they don't think that's legit. Cashineris is in front. Can Montoya gain that time back? There he goes around the outside, and he's getting close to the back of Cashineris. It looks like he will grab the lead again from Helio Cashineris. He goes down the inside of him now then, down this back straight, and Montoya does grab the lead again. So Montoya once again in the lead here at Atlanta Speedway, as Pagano Darden is now close to the back of Chavez at the pit stop, so we now have a fight for that place as Rahal's on the inside of Hunter Ray for 5th place. Can Rahal grab the place? He does. Up into 5th place goes Graham Rahal. JL Hildebrand is up into 7th place. Powers all over him. Chilton has lost some time in the pits. He's all the way down in 12th. Make that 13th because Sartor's on the inside. So Chilton getting really held up in the pits, and he's all the way down in 13th. So he's had the same effect as what Newgarden had earlier in the race. Cashineris is still up with Montoya at this stage. Pagano now in all over the backside of Gabby Chavez. Can he grab 3rd place from the young Colombian now then? Ed Jones at the pits from the 3rd time today. They're all fueled to the end of the race now then. Simon Pagano on the inside. Has he got 3rd place now then off Chavez? Down the inside, and yes he has. Up into 3rd place goes Simon Pagano in the Silicon Valley racing car. So that's P3 for the Frenchman, but Gabby Chavez still not giving up, as Rahal has created a bit of a buffer between himself and Ryan Hunter Ray at this point, as they make the way down this straight now then, as Chavez now then losing time now then to Pagano, as he's now starting to get away from him, as he now tries to gain onto the top 2. Look like they're going to be fighting again for the lead of the race as they go down the straight towards the second banking very soon on the racetrack now then. Into that second banking we go, as Cashineris really putting his foot down now then, as he will now go down the straight. And Cashineris, can he try and find a way through now then on Robert Wickens? Sorry, not Robert Wickens, Juan Pablo Montoya for the lead of the race. As now they go around this banking now, they're on the track through the first banking, as we are now on lap 76 of 200 then in this race. So we now have specifically 130 and no, not 130, 125 laps to go here at Atlanta Speedway. And so now around this banking we go, as Cashineris tries to get onto the backside of Montoya, trying to get within the slipstream of the Colombian veteran, and so far not close enough to him at this stage of the race, as these two look to try and get, both of them are fighting to try and get the first ever IFMC IndyCar win. And now around this first banking we go, heading down the straight now then into the second banking we will soon go on the racetrack. And Cashineris now then getting closer and closer and closer to the back of Juan Pablo Montoya now then, as they make their way down the straight and heading into the first banking very soon. And so now up towards that first banking we will go on the racetrack, and just looks a little bit too far back to challenge at the moment. And so now they both come down this straight, and Cashineris now then still stuck behind Montoya, as we've now reached the 2 o'clock mark for anybody wondering now then. Around the banking we go on the racetrack. So they will soon come down the straight. Castaneras now then heading down this long straight. And Castaneras now then getting closer now then. He's right in the slipstream now then of Juan Pablo Montoya's. And now into the first banking we go. Look at how close Castaneras is getting. Can he grab the lead now then from Juan Pablo Montoya in the Red Rose Racing car? He's in the slipstream. Is Castaneras going to grab the lead from Montoya now then? He tucks up. He's going to look to the inside. It is going to be the lead for Helio Castaneras. Down the inside he goes. Has he got the lead? And yes, he has. Castaneras leads at Atlanta Speedway, but Montoya still sticking with him at the moment as the pair of them continue to scrap it out for the lead now then as they go down the straight. And Montoya now then on the inside trying to find a way through, but Castaneras just able to stay in front. Montoya just taking a little bit too much inside line, and Castaneras now has a bit of a gap in front of Montoya, but Montoya will try and gain it back if he can in the Red Rose Racing car now then as they make the way down the straight. And looks like Montoya just a little bit too far back to challenge at this stage now then. Around the banking we go on the racetrack as they will now make their way down the straight. So now they go down the straight now, they're on the track up towards the first banking. We will now go on the racetrack. Montoya again a little bit too far back to challenge at this stage as they now make their way around these corners. Down the straight we will soon go on the racetrack. And Montoya still quite a bit back from him at this stage. Around the banking we go. And so now they will go down the straight. And so now heading in towards the first banking we will soon go on the racetrack. And still quite a bit back. Looks like Castaneras has got the edge now at this stage. As meantime now then, Hunter Ray has now created a gap between himself and Rahal in 5th as he now tries to hunt down Chavez for 4th. And so he'll be looking to do that. He's got a 1.3 second deficit to try and catch in order to get 4th from Gabby Chavez at the moment. But he's doing a good job after only qualifying 12th yesterday on the grid. So he's making his way up through the field quite nicely. His teammate Fernando Alonso is still struggling in this race down the field. I think he's currently in 15th in this race, so he's not having quite a good race, it must be said. And probably needs a lot of luck if he wants to take a good amount of points today. But at this stage it's looking like that Simon Pagino will be the one, I think, to lead the Drivers' Championship if it stays like this. So now around this banking we will go, the first banking on the track. And so now we will come down the straight. And Ryan Hunter Ray now then up towards the second banking. He will soon go on the racetrack. And so now around the corner he goes. As Hunter Ray still trying to get up onto these guys now then. And Montoya still keeping within touching distance at the moment of Helio Castaneras at this stage, as he looks to try and retake the lead then from the Brazilian, as we're now on lap 84 of 200 then here at Atlanta Speedway. So we have specifically 117 laps remaining and 17 laps to go before we get to the lap 100 mark. And running on board now then with Juan Pablo Montoya, and we'll try and have a look and see what the gap is like between him and Castaneras on this lap if we can. Looks like Montoya's got a little bit more drive around the banking than what Castaneras did. As now going down the straight now then, let's see the gap between Montoya and Castaneras. It was 0.4 last time by, as you can see on the cockpit. Let's see the gap this time by. Has that changed? As they now make the way up towards the first banking on the track, and the gap being, let's have a look, it is still 0.4 seconds, so that's still currently the gap at the moment between the pair of them at this stage. As now into the second banking now then we will go, and still at the moment Montoya quite a bit far back at this stage, making our way down the straight, and Montoya still quite a bit behind up towards the first banking we go. And so around this first banking we go on the racetrack now then, making their way down the back straight. We will soon go on the racetrack, and now into the second banking we will soon go. And so now around the second banking we go. So Montoya trying to get up close to the back of Helio Castaneras at this stage. Oh no, Castaneras has got a blown engine! The race leader has got a problem, and that is a welcome sight for Juan Pablo Montoya as he now retakes the lead here at Atlanta Speedway. And just like last year, Helio Castroneves has got a problem here at Atlanta Speedway whilst he was leading the race. It's deja vu for the Brazilian. And Helio Castroneves, after looking so good for a first ever IFMC IndyCar win, is going to have to wait a little longer as he is now out of the race and we're down to 17 runners. And it's a water leak actually that's taken care of Castroneves, not an engine failure. A water leak has taken care of Helio Castroneves. It's race over for the EMR driver, and what a shame. And was definitely looking good to try and challenge for the win today, but it's all come to nothing. Castroneves out, and we're down to 17 runners here at Atlanta Speedway. And that's not the sight that team boss James Willows wanted to see. Their team just hasn't been getting any luck this season, and when it looked good for a third victory this season, it's been snatched away from them. Castroneves out, we're down to 17 runners. Pagano now up to second. Chavez back onto the podium as a result. As there is Castroneves' car being hoisted over the other side of the barrier, and that had to cause Juan Pablo Montoya to slow down a bit, but Pagano didn't take full advantage. He's still quite a bit back at the moment. Well, I say that, in fact, he's still building up the speed, it seems, because he's still gaining at the moment to the back of Montoya, so we could have another scrap for the lead. When it looked comfy for Montoya, Pagano now finds himself a contender to win this race. He hasn't won, remember, since Belle Park last season, so that's that for him. Pagano, who could look good to take the lead in the Drivers' Championship, might actually have a chance of getting victory here at Atlanta Speedway. It'd be his first oval win if he's able to do so, as he makes his way down this back straight now, then up towards the second banking. We will go on the track, and still quite a bit back at the moment from Juan Pablo Montoya, as they now make their way down the pit straight now. They're heading in towards the first banking. We will now go, and so now up towards this first banking we go, as Pagano now then right in the slipstream of Juan Pablo Montoya as he now makes his way down the straight, and so now looking like he's trying to get up close. Still not close enough to try and get him on this instance, but he is definitely getting closer every lap now. Then 0.3 seconds the gap between him and Montoya at the moment. We're on lap 90 of 200. It'll be lap 91 once these two cross the line very soon. So when they cross the line, we will have 110 laps remaining, 10 laps till we get to the lap 100 mark, and they are going to the end of the race. They've all completed their stops. They've got them out of the way. It's now a long dash to the finish, as now around this first banking we go. Now they're heading down towards this back straight, up towards the second banking. We will soon go then on the racetrack, as now around this banking we go. Pagano now then still trying to put Montoya under a lot of pressure at the moment at this stage, heading down the straight. And Simon Pagano now then really powering the pressure on Juan Pablo Montoya up towards the first banking now. Then we will go on the racetrack, and just a little bit too far back to challenge at the moment. And so now down the straight we go up towards the second banking, and again probably just a little bit too far back to challenge at the moment, but still pushing hard now to try and get Montoya for the lead, as he now makes his way down the straight, and now heading down the straight up towards the first banking. Will Pagano get close to try and get the lead from Montoya? Around the banking go the pair of them now, then heading down this straight now. Then we will go, and Pagano still trying to get within the slipstream of Montoya now then in this race, as now through this banked left hand, then we will soon go on the racetrack as these two fight for the lead here at Atlanta. And at the moment Chavez just watching on as a passer at the moment, because he's a little bit too far back to challenge, probably just eating a box of popcorn at this stage, as he watches these two fight it out for the lead. So around the corner now then we will go, so now Pagano still continuing to harry down Montoya in front, and still trying to get within the slipstream as best as possible now then. And so going around the banking we go, as they'll soon go down the pit straight, as Pagenaud now then, can he find a way through then on Juan Pablo Montoya up towards the first banking now then we go. And he doesn't appear to be close enough at this stage. So around the banking we go, as they now make their way down the straight now then, as Pagenaud now then continuing to try and harry down the race leader through the second banking we go. And so now down the straight now then we go, so Pagenaud now then still continuing to harry down Montoya for the lead. So now they make their way into the first banking on the racetrack, and so now heading down this long straight we go, and Pagenaud now then still quite a bit far back at this stage, and still trying to harry him down around the second banking we go, and still struggling to attack him at this stage of the race. As now, in fact, he's now got a good run actually. Pagenaud in the slipstream then. Juan Pablo Montoya is going to look to the inside. Will this be the lead for Simon Pagenaud? And yes, it is. Pagenaud now leads the race here at Atlanta Speedway. And Pagenaud now finds himself in the lead, but Montoya hasn't given up. Montoya back on the prowl of Pagenaud as quick as possible now then. In the slipstream he goes. Down the inside goes Juan Pablo Montoya. Can he try and grab the lead from Simon now then? Into the second banking we go, and he isn't able to get the move done. So Montoya still in the lead of the race, back in the lead of the race. Sorry, he has managed to get the move done. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's Pagenaud now then going down the pitch straight, and Montoya again covers him off to hold on to the lead at this stage. And Montoya able to create a gap again between himself and Simon Pagenaud. And Pagenaud will have to do all that hard work yet again if he wants to win here at Atlanta, as they now make their way down the straight now then up towards the second banking we will soon go. And Pagenaud now then doing a grand job trying to keep up at the moment. So around the corner we go. And now then heading down the straight. As they now go down this pit straight now then, as we are now on lap 99. So one more lap until we reach the lap 100 mark here at Atlanta Speedway. And Pagenaud still not giving up on Juan Pablo Montoya in front of him at the moment. So make the way down this long straight, and this looks to be a battle that could go on throughout the rest of the race, but we will wait and see as we ride on board with the race leader Juan Pablo Montoya. And obviously now got a bit of a gap in front of Simon at this stage, as they now make the way down the straight, as now Montoya starts lap 100 of 200 then in this race. We're now at the halfway stage here at Atlanta Speedway. We've now reached the lap 100 mark, and there's 101 laps remaining here at Atlanta Speedway. And so now coming down the straight we go, and so now around the banking we go, and Montoya still leading the race now then quite comfortably in front of Pagenaud now then, ever since he covered him off a couple of laps ago down this exact straight in fact. And Montoya still leading the way at the moment. As meantime, any more battles to keep an eye on? Doesn't look like it. Everybody kind of separating themselves out a bit. Well, Rahal slowly closing out to the back of Dixon for 6th place. Dixon has gained a lot of time. He's already up into 6th after his qualifying ban yesterday. So Dixon already up 6th place at the moment in this race. And well, what can be said about that then really? J.R. Hildebrand in 5th at the moment. So he's currently up in 5th, quite a long way back from Ryan Teray, who's still quite a bit back from Gabby Chavez in 3rd place. And so everybody just kind of settling themselves down into a little bit of a rhythm. Andretti and Canaan looking like they're fighting it down in 15th, but Canaan looks like he might have that covered at the moment. Pagenaud slowly but surely closing back in now on Juan Pablo Montoya, as he now make their way into the first banking on the racetrack. Round he goes now then, as they will soon come down the straight, the back straight very soon. And Pagenaud now then going down this straight and then up towards the second banking we will soon go. Around the second banking we go, as Pagenaud now then still trying to harry down Montoya for the lead of the race, heading down this straight. And Pagenaud still quite a long way back from him at this stage, up towards the first banking now then we will go on the racetrack. Around this banking now then, as they make their way down the straight. And so now up towards the second banking we will go. And now around the second banking we go, heading down the straight. As Pagenaud now then tries to get hold of Montoya. He's getting closer, in fact, but still not up to the point where he can start to try and overtake him again like he did a few laps ago, as we're now on lap 104 of 200 now then in this race, so 97 laps to go here at Atlanta Speedway. And Pagenaud trying to still grab hold to the slipstream then of Juan Pablo Montoya in front. Around the second banking we go. And well, that's that really now then, as they make their way down the straight, as they come down the straight now they're on the track. And so now up towards the first banking we will go. Around the first banking we go, as Pagenaud now then still trying to get hold of Montoya in front. And so now heading down this straight now then, will Pagenaud try and pull off the move on Juan Pablo Montoya? And still quite a bit far back from him at the moment at this stage of the race, as they now make their way through the second banking, heading down the straight very soon. And still a long way back at the moment. Montoya still with quite a comfortable gap in front of Simon Pagenaud at this stage. And now up towards the first banking we will go. So around the first banking now then, Pagenaud still trying to get himself involved in this scrap, as they now make their way down the straight. And there's Chavez, still quite a bit far back, but he's slowly closing in on the guys in front, but still, as mentioned, not within the slipstream range at the moment. Hunter Ray not that far behind Chavez either. And he looks to try and take the podium place off him after only qualifying 12th yesterday. Dixon up in 6th after his qualifying ban, so he's gained 16 places from the start, so fantastic recovery drive from the Kiwi, it must be said. And also keep an eye on him as well. He is still in the championship contention at the moment, so he could put himself back into it if it stays like this. And so now around the first banking we will go. And now heading down this long straight we will go. Up towards the second banking we will soon go. As now around this second banking we go. And so now we will soon come down the straight now then. And I think Pagenaud will be leading the championship if it stays like this. Yes, he will, because he was third coming into this race. He was 11 points back from Pietro Fittipaldi. So if it stays like this, Simon Pagenaud will be taking the lead in the Drivers' Championship. And so that'll be a good achievement for him indeed. He hasn't led since last season, of course. I can't remember when he led it last, or which track he led it last. But it will be for the first time since last season since he led a Drivers' Championship. Around the second banking then goes Simon Pagenaud. And now they come down the straight, as Pagenaud now then trying to put Montoya still under a lot of pressure here at Atlanta. And now up towards the first banking we will go again. It's still quite a long way to go before this race finishes off. As now heading out of the first banking we go, as Pagenaud now then really trying hard to get Montoya in front. And Pagenaud trying to crack the Colombian under a lot of pressure now then in this stage, as he now heads down this long straight now then, as we will start what lap we will now be on. We will be on lap 110 now then of the race, so 91 laps to go for race leader Juan Pablo Montoya. And so just going around the banking now then we will go. Pagenaud looking like he's got some good drive coming off the second banking, so a little bit more of a better drive than Montoya, but still not close enough to get him at this stage. Heading down this long straight now then up towards the second banking we will go on the racetrack. And so now around this banking we go now then, heading down the pit straight, as Pagenaud still tries to put Montoya under a lot of pressure in front. And now up towards the first banking we go, as Pagenaud now then trying everything in his power to get Montoya in front, as they now make their way down this straight. And still quite a bit back from him at the moment. Now heading down the straight up towards the second banking we will go. And so now around the second banking we go. So now heading down this straight we go. as Pagenaud looks to put Montoya still under a lot of pressure at the moment. And so now around the banking we go. And so now we will soon head down the straight. And again, Pagenaud still quite a bit back at the moment. Still trying to dig deep and trying to find that weak point Montoya has in his driving to try and take full advantage at the moment. Around the second banking we go on the racetrack. There's Pagenaud now then still trying to put Montoya under immense pressure at the moment, as he continues to try and hunt him down at this stage. And so now up towards the first banking we go. And Pagenaud trying to get a little bit more of a drive on Montoya now then around the first banking we go, as they now make their way down this long straight. And up towards the second banking we will go. And through the second banking we go, as they'll soon come down the straight. And now heading down the straight we go and adding up towards the first banking on the track. And so now around the corner now, then we go around the first banking, as they'll soon make their way down this long straight. And so now up towards the second banking we go. And Pagenaud doing an almighty job to try and put some pressure on Montoya, but Montoya doing a great job at the moment to not crack at this stage, and still keeping the gap consistent between himself and Simon Pagenaud. Still 0.4 between the pair of them at this stage, as we're now on lap 115 of the race, so 86 laps remaining then for Juan Pablo Montoya, as now they just go around the first banking on the track, as they now come down towards the straight now. Then we will go, as Hunter-Reay still not close enough to the back of Chavez to challenge for third at the moment. And everybody's still separating themselves out in this race, not really much battling going on at the moment. Unseen by the cameras, Andretti actually got by on Tony Kanaan, so he gets up into 15th, but it's still not been a good race for the adrenaline driver, it must be said, of Marco Andretti, his teammate, looking to get some big points today, up in 5th place at the moment. I think he's in 5th. No, in fact, he's way down in 9th, but still some more points than what Andretti's going to get at this stage of the race. Pagenaud now then round the first banking we will go, as he tries to get within the slipstream now then of Juan Pablo Montoya. As we now go up towards the second banking we will go, as Pagenaud tries to put him under a lot of pressure now then at this stage, as they will go down the pit straight. And so now up towards the first banking we go. And Pagenaud now then going around this first banking, he will go on the racetrack, as he will soon go down the very, very long straight. And still trying to get within the slipstream then of Juan Pablo Montoya. I'm still getting the red roses and adrenalines confused at the moment, because they've kind of got a similar colour scheme going off between the pair of them. Heading down this long straight now, then we go. And Pagenaud still trying to put Montoya under a lot of pressure now then at this stage. He has cut the gap down by attempting to get it down to 0.3 seconds. So he has gained a little bit on Montoya since the last time we checked on the gap between these two. So Pagenaud still doing a good job, just trying to put some pressure on Juan Pablo Montoya, it must be said, as he tries to get hold of Montoya in front of him at the moment. And now up towards the second banking we go. And so that's that really as far as they are concerned, as they make their way down the pit straight now then. And up towards the first banking we go. And as you can see, Pagenaud still putting Montoya under a bit of pressure at the moment, still clinging onto the back of the Red Rose Racing car, getting a good drive out of that first banking, it must be said. He's still trying to get closer and closer to the back of the Colombian veteran, as the Frenchman still tries to put a lot of pressure on Montoya at the moment. Around the second banking we go, and so now heading his way down the straight now then, as he will soon make his way up towards the first banking on the racetrack. And so now making his way down the straight we will soon go, And so now Simon Pagenaud heading up towards the second banking very soon. And so now around the second banking we will go. And is he going to get enough drive again to come off the banking and be on the back of Montoya? It doesn't look like it, so he's still going to hang back behind him at the moment as he tries everything to try and find a weakness in Montoya's driving. In front, still in second place at the moment, and these two still continuing to try and scrap it out for the win here at Atlanta Speedway, the final over race of the season. The last two races again will be on road courses at Watkins Glen and at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, which will play host yet again to the finale. As now around the second banking we will go on the racetrack as they will make their way down the straight. As now Pagenaud still trying to put the pressure on Juan Pablo Montoya in front. So now through the first banking, Pagenaud still trying to find some momentum somewhere to try and grab the lead from Montoya at the moment. Getting a good drive out of that first banking there then. So he's still doing quite a good job to try and get onto him at the moment. It looks like he might be getting closer on this lap. He's closer than what he has been before, I would think, but we'll wait and see as he comes off the banking. I think he might be a little bit too far back. Let's wait and see. Heading down this straight we go. And no, not quite close enough that time by, but he does appear to be closer than what he was last time around. As now around the first banking we go. And still trying to put Montoya under a lot of pressure at this stage. And he's now right actually in the slipstream now of Juan Pablo Montoya. And surely he must have a go down this first straight. He's getting closer and closer and closer now to the back of Montoya. This is probably his best chance for a while now. Then Pagenaud in the slipstream of Montoya. He's going to look to the inside. Can he pull the move off again? Isn't able to do so down there. Gets back in the slipstream off Montoya now then. Round the first banking we go on the racetrack. Montoya could lose his lead in a little bit now then. Round the first banking we go as he will go down the straight. Will Pagenaud grab the lead from Juan Pablo Montoya? He's going to look to the inside. Hasn't got enough momentum at the moment. Montoya still able to stick in front at this stage as they now make their way round the second banking again. Montoya able to cover off Pagenaud at the moment. Pagenaud had to lift off a tad bit, but now back in the slipstream again of Montoya. Can he get him down this straight again now then? Pagenaud in the slipstream again of Montoya, again gets cut off by Montoya. Montoya again covers off and has quite a bit of a lead again in front of Simon Pagenaud. So again, doing a good job defensively to keep back Simon Pagenaud at the moment and keep hold of the lead as he's now got a bit of a gap again in front of Simon Pagenaud. Pagenaud again will have to work hard. Well, I say that because Gabby Chavez is now starting to get onto the backside now then of Simon Pagenaud and maybe start to attack him for second place. But we will wait and see on that as he makes his way around the second banking, heading down the straight now. Then we go, and so now coming up now then towards the first banking on the track, and so now we will go around the first banking very soon, and now heading down this long straight now. Then we go. And not that far at the moment. Chavez looking to get on the proud Pagenaud as Montoya now has quite a comfortable lead after cutting him off again at the same part where he cut him off last time, which caused Simon to back off at the moment. Nothing wrong with that. That is fair racing, of course, as Montoya now then is about to start lap 127 of 200 now then in this race. So we now have specifically, I think if I'm correct, it is 74 laps remaining here at Atlanta Speedway. 74 laps to go for Juan Pablo Montoya as he continues to lead the way in front of Pagenaud, who's now dropped back from him now then, and he may have to start doing some defending from the Macamo of Gabby Chavez. Around the second banking we will go on the racetrack as they now make their way down this long straight very soon. Heading down the straight now then up towards the first banking we will soon go on the racetrack. So now in towards that banking now then. Around they go as they will make their way down the long straight very soon. And so now heading down this long straight. And so now up towards the second banking we will soon go very soon on the track. As now around this banking we go. As we'll have a look and see the gap actually between Chavez and Pagenaud at this stage of the race as they come down the straight. Let's have a look now. So it's 0.4 last time by. Let's have a look at what it is this time by, as we now have 82 laps remain. Sorry, 72 laps remain for Juan Pablo Montoya. We're on lap 129 of 200, and the gap between Pagenaud and Chavez at this point is now 0.4 seconds. That's our look, as Chavez has got a half a second lead in front of Ryan Hunter-Reay at the moment. As here is the rest of the pack at the moment. Not that much movement going on from those guys at the moment. Everybody's still getting into a little bit of a rhythm at this stage of the race. Around the second banking, we will now go on the racetrack, as they will soon come down the straight. And now heading down the straight now, then we will go on the racetrack up towards the first banking now, then we will go. And Chavez still quite a bit far back at this stage. Around the left hander we go. And so now heading down the straight, we will now go on the racetrack. And so now heading down the straight up towards the first banking, we will now go. And so now around the second banking. And so now coming down the straight. And so now towards the first banking now, then we will go on the racetrack. Let's see the gap this time by, as we are now on, now we have 70 laps remaining in the race, so 70 laps to go for Montoya. And we still 0.4 seconds the gap covering Chavez and Pagenaud at this stage. So there is Jones still wheeled in the back of the field at the moment, having quite a disappointing race, it must be said. Target Andy Graham Racing not getting any good luck whatsoever this season. And well, when are they ever going to get any good luck? Will they ever get any good luck in these final two races? Who knows really, as we go to Watkins Glen and the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the final two races of the season. And then it will be the focus on Season 5 of IFMC, a new era for them with the V12 engines. And of course, for anybody wondering, of course, the teams have now received their their engine settings now then, their performance settings for the engines. And they can't tell anybody, which they have done a good job so far throughout the last few seasons. I mean, we've had a few blips here and there, but so far doing a good job nonetheless. There'll be 5 engines, 5 engine manufacturers you'll see next season. Of course, we'll have BMW, of course, from Etihad. Then you'll have Ferrari from the likes of Eldorado, GRM, Suomi, and their new suppliers, Mars Grand Prix. After Martini sold them off to them, we'll then have Mercedes again, which will have EMR, Monster, Shadow, and the newcomers AMP to them. So 4 engines to supply, 4 teams for AMP to supply. Audi will only field 1 for the first time ever in their career, thanks to Bud Light Line Motorsport. And then we'll have Renault, which is coming back after a season out with Martini Motorsport. So that's that for them really. As Montoya now then heads down the straight up towards the first banking. Now then we'll go Montoya. And so now up towards the first banking now then, he will go on the track, as Montoya still continues to lead the way at the moment with quite a huge lead at the front of the field. As meantime, Chavez still trying to put Pagenaud under a lot of pressure at the moment at this stage, as he tries to take second place from the Frenchman after he lost time now then to race leader Juan Pablo Montoya after being chopped off again down the pit straight. As now coming out of the back of the second banking now, then we will go. As Chavez still trying to get hold of Pagenaud in front if he can, up towards the first banking now, then we will go on the racetrack now then. Around the first banking we go, as they'll soon make their way down this straight now then. And then up towards the second banking we will soon go. And so now around the second banking we go, as Chavez still tries to put some pressure on Simon Pagenaud in front. And now down the straight we go. Let's see what's going to happen now then, as they make their way down the straight and then in towards the first banking. And now heading down the straight, we will soon go on the track. And then down the straight we go, as we will soon approach the second banking on the track. And so now around the banking we go, as they will soon come down this very long straight. And so now heading down the straight now, there we go. As Chavez now then still tries to put some pressure on down the straight we go up towards the first banking. And so let's see the gap at this point, still 0.4 seconds, nothing really much has changed between these two at the moment, as we're now on lap 137 of 200 then here at Atlanta Speedway. So we now have specifically 64 laps remaining here at Atlanta. The laps coming down very quickly, must have said. We have just passed the 2:30 mark, for anybody wondering. 5 minutes ago, in fact, we passed it. So that's that really, as now we come down out of the second banking to start another lap. So now heading up towards the first banking, we will soon go on the racetrack, as Chavez still trying to put Pagenaud under a lot of pressure as he tries to snatch second place off the Frenchman, trying to help his teammate as best as possible. So it looks like Pagenaud will be the one that will be taking the lead in the Drivers' Championship if it stays like this. And now up towards the second banking, we will soon go on the racetrack. Around we go now then, and so they will soon come down the straight very soon. And so that's that really as far as they are concerned. Now they're heading down the long straight we go, as Chavez looks to try and get hold of Pagenaud now then. Round the first banking on the track we will soon go. So Hunter Ray, in fact, is getting closer to the back of Chavez, and what Chavez is coming to the back of Pagenaud at the moment. So Ryan Hunter Ray could actually spoil a bit of a surprise, it must be said, at this stage as they make their way down this long straight now then. Hunter Ray clinging onto the slipstream, it seems, of Gabby Chavez at the moment. Around the second banking we go. Hunter Ray looking to try and get his car onto the podium if he can. So around the second banking we will now go as they make their way down this long straight. And so now up towards the first banking we go. And let's see the gap between him and Chavez at the moment as they make their way around this first banking, and the gap being, as they will come up to where it will show us, it's 0.4 seconds, which is the same gap that Chavez has got in front of Simon Pagenaud at the moment. So Pagenaud still quite a long way back from Juan Pablo Montoya at this stage of the race, but still will not give up with the amount of laps that are left here at Atlanta Speedway, as soon Pagenaud will make his way down this long straight very soon, as he tries to put some pressure on Juan Pablo Montoya in front of him. And so that's that really as far as he is concerned. Around the first banking we go, and still quite a bit a long way back at this stage of the race to put an attack on Montoya. And so that's that really. So they now come down the straight. That's now through the first banking we go on the track. As meantime, unseen by the cameras, Chilton has actually lost another place, this time to Fernando Alonso. So Alonso has got up to 12th, but still not been a great race for the Spaniard. And this all weekend, he would definitely want to forget, and he'll want to move on to Watkins Glen next weekend for the penultimate round of the championship, as they now make their way down this long straight up towards the first banking on the track. And so now around the first banking we will go, as meantime Montoya still with quite a comfortable lead, and if he can keep this up, he's looking good. In fact, I'm trying to think how many people have actually converted pole into the win this season in IFMC IndyCar. I know Rossi did in the first race. The second race wasn't. The third race wasn't either. The fourth race was actually. So Sato actually converted pole into the win. Fifth race was the fifth race. I'm trying to think. I don't think it was actually. I don't think it was. Sixth race didn't count, of course. Seventh race, well, in fact, either way, it didn't. That didn't. Seventh race didn't. Eighth race didn't. And so it'd be only the third time, I think, that somebody's actually converted pole into the victory this season. If Montoya can just keep this up for the remaining laps that we've got left in this race, as Hunter Ray is keeping on cutting down. It's down to 0.3 seconds between himself and Gabby Chavez at this stage. He's getting closer to the back of him than what Chavez is getting to the back of Pagenaud, it must be said, as well. On lap 144 of 200 now then in this race, as we now have lap 144 of 200 in this race. We now have specifically, trying to work that out in my head actually, we now have 57 laps remaining. So 57 laps remaining here at Atlanta Speedway. So Hunter Ray now then getting close to the back of Gabby Chavez, and looks like he could get a good amount of momentum coming out of this second banking. Now then heading down the straight, can he try and find a way through on Gabby Chavez? Is he right in the slipstream now then of the young Colombian? Round the first banking we go. Is Hunter Ray going to try and grab third place from Gabby Chavez? Coming off the first banking, is Hunter Ray going to actually pull the move off and get onto the podium? He's tucked up into his slipstream now then. He's going to look to the inside. Will Ryan Hunter Ray pull the move off on Gabby Chavez as they go side by side of each other now then into the second banking? Danny inside, and yes he has. Ryan Hunter Ray takes third place in this race. Up into third place goes Ryan Hunter Ray, and he's already now on the back of Simon Pagenaud, so he could actually grab second coming down this long straight. Hunter Ray in the slipstream he goes. Could he even have a chance of the victory here? Hunter Ray on the inside of Simon Pagenaud. Has he got the place? And yes he has. Up into second place goes Ryan Hunter Ray in the e-power car now then, so that's P2 for him, but Pagenaud has not given up on him yet. Then Pagenaud back in the slipstream of Hunter Ray. He's going to look to the inside. Can he retake second from Ryan Hunter Ray? All this is allowing Montoya to just get away a little bit from these guys. Chavez has now dropped back a bit as a result. It's now become a two-horse scrap for second. Pagenaud has regained second from Ryan Hunter Ray, but Hunter Ray has not given up on him yet as he comes out of the final banking now then, back in the slipstream of Simon Pagenaud, and trying to still get hold of him if he can. Up towards the first banking we go. Trying to get on the inside, isn't able to do so at the moment. Pagenaud still able to stay in front of the moment. There is a bit of a gap there, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pagenaud covers that off, which he does. So Pagenaud going to hold off the second place at the moment. Heading down this long straight now, then we go. Can Hunter Ray grab the position of Simon Pagenaud? Danny inside he goes, as he got second again from the Frenchman. Danny inside, and yes he has. Hunter Ray back up into second place, trying to use the momentum to get up onto the leader. Juan Pablo Montoya if he can, as he looks to try and get his and e-power's first ever IFMC IndyCar win after a long drought. Heading down this straight now, then we go, as Pagenaud gets chopped off by Hunter Ray and loses second, and now Hunter Ray has got his sights set on race leader Juan Pablo Montoya now then in this race, as Pagenaud has now lost time to Ryan Hunter Ray. As now heading down the straight, can Hunter Ray try and get hold of Montoya for the lead of the race here at Atlanta Speedway? Now it's getting very interesting in these remaining laps here at Atlanta Speedway. Around the second banking we go on the racetrack now then. Hunter Ray trying to get hold of Montoya now then as they come down the long straight on the racetrack now then. Heading up towards the first banking we will go, and they're still not close enough at this stage. The gap between them now then is one lap 149 of 200 then in this race. We've got 52 laps remaining here at Atlanta Speedway. The gap half a second between each other, so just half a second covers Hunter Ray and Montoya at this stage of the race now then. Hunter Ray not giving up at the moment. Chavez too far back to get Pagenaud at this stage to try and get onto the podium. If he can try and get back on the podium, I should say. Around the second banking we go. Looks like Hunter Ray's got a little bit more momentum out of the banking than what Montoya had coming out of there now then. Heading down this long straight up towards the first banking we go on the racetrack, as Hunter Ray continues to try and put Montoya under a lot of pressure. We are 17 minutes away from the 3 o'clock mark, for anybody wondering. We're coming up towards 2:45 now at this race, and we're getting close to the closing stages of this race now then. Round the second banking we will go on the racetrack now then. Hunter Ray trying to put pressure on Montoya to try and get his first ever IFMC IndyCar win as well, along with e-powers as well. As now up towards the first banking now then we will go on the racetrack. It'll be a brilliant recovery from Ryan Hunter Ray after only qualifying 12th yesterday. It's not as impressive as Pietro Fittipaldi's last week, where he came from last to win the race last week at Chicagoland Speedway. So but still a good recovery drive nonetheless for the American, as now we go around the second banking on the racetrack now then. Could this even put Hunter Ray into the championship fight? Who knows really. But now as he comes down the pit straight now then, the gap between him and Montoya at this stage, as we now have 49 laps to go in this race. One lap 152 of 200, 49 left here at Atlanta. Round the first banking we go. The gap between them is still half a second. Hunter Ray still hasn't been able to find those extra tenths he needs to try and get the lead from the Red Rose Racing of Juan Pablo Montoya. As now we go down the back straight now then, up towards the second banking we will go. And so now we will head down this straight very soon, as Hunter Ray isn't able to get close to the back of Montoya very soon at the moment. And now we will approach the the second banking now they're on the racetrack, as they will soon make their way down the long straight now then on the track. As let's see now then, as we will have 48 laps remaining. Half a second still covers the pair of them, as he's pulled exactly a second on Simon Pagenaud. Has Ryan Hunter-Reay now then. It's just these two now then to scrap it out for the lead of the race now then. Red Rose Racing versus E-Power, as now down the straight now then we will go on the racetrack, as they will make their way up towards the first banking we go. As Hunter-Reay now then really trying to get hold of Montoya if he can, as they will come down this long straight now then up towards the second banking we will soon go on the racetrack. And so now into the second banking we go, and Ryan Hunter-Reay still pushing hard to get the victory here at Atlanta Speedway, as now they come down the straight, and Hunter-Reay still trying to see if he can try and find some momentum on Montoya if he can now then, as they both approach the first banking on the racetrack now then, as they both really push hard now then to try and grab their first ever IFMC IndyCar wins. And so that's that really as far as the pair of them are concerned at the moment. That's now up towards the second banking we will go on the racetrack, and so now heading down the pit straight very soon. So heading down the pit straight now then up towards the first banking we will soon go on the racetrack, and so now into that first banking we go, and Hunter-Reay still a little bit far back at the moment to try and attack Montoya at this stage, as he makes his way down this straight now then up towards the next banking we will soon go around this second banking now then. Let's see, we will now try and go down this long straight now then before approaching the first banking very soon, as Hunter-Reay still trying to put some pressure on if he can. Up towards the first banking we go. Hunter-Reay still a long way back at the moment, as now around this banking we go, as still quite a long way back from Montoya at this stage is Hunter-Reay, and still not giving up at the moment, as he tries everything in his power to get the victory here today. As around the second banking we go now then for the umpteenth time today. Now going down the straight we go, and let's see the gap then between the pair of them at this stage. It was 0.4 last time by, so from the last time we checked he had cut a 10th. Is that going to continue on this lap now then, as we have 43 to go here at Atlanta Speedway? And so going around the corner, it's still 0.4 seconds of gap, still a second between Hunter-Reay and Pagenaud at this stage, as he's still keeping the gap consistent between himself, Chavez, and teammate J.R. Hildebrand. So at the moment, Chavez finding himself in a Silicon Valley Racing sandwich at this stage of the race, with Pagenaud in front and Hildebrand behind him, as now coming down the straight we go, and Hunter-Reay now then approaching this first banking now then on the racetrack, and so now just going around here then, and so Hunter-Reay still trying everything in his power to get hold of Montoya in front of him, and still not quite close enough to get the place at this stage of the race. Up towards the second banking we go, and so now we come down the straight. We will soon go on the racetrack, and heading down the straight now then, as Hunter-Reay getting closer and closer. Look how much momentum he got out of the corner. Got a lot more exit speed than what Montoya did that time by, as he's getting closer and closer now to the back of Juan Pablo Montoya, as Will Power is back in the pits. Why is he back in the pits? Has he got a problem of some sort? As he try and get hold of him, and whereabouts is he? Was it a problem for Power? It was a brake problem. Will Power back in the pits with a brake problem, so a disaster for the Australian there. He's having to come in to repair the brake problem, and that's a disaster for him as far as he's concerned. So more bad luck for the runner-up of last year, Will Power, last season I should say. And well, when will the Australian ever catch a break? He just missed out last weekend on his and Eldorado's first ever victory in IFMC IndyCar, but unfortunately mechanical problems prevented him from doing that, and now Eldorado and Will Power still waiting a little bit longer for their first ever victories. As now going down the straight now, then Hunter Ray in the slipstream then of Juan Pablo Montoya, still not close enough to put a pass on the Colombian veteran at this stage. Power now a lap down as a result, and finding himself now down at the back of the field, as unless Jones is actually a lap down, so he could be in 16th place, so Jones could have somebody to fight with, it seems, for a place. As now around the second banking we go, Hunter Ray still putting pressure on Juan Pablo Montoya at this stage of the race, heading down the straight. Hunter Ray now then still not close enough to get hold of Montoya at the moment. So now they will approach the first banking, as Hunter Ray still putting the pressure on Juan Pablo Montoya at this stage of the race, as they will make their way down this long straight. Hunter Ray now then trying to get within the slipstream if he can off Juan Pablo Montoya. And now we will approach the second banking on the track, and Hunter Ray now then still trying everything in his power to get hold of Montoya in front of him. And so now heading down this long straight now, then we go, and then approaching the first banking very soon on the racetrack. And so now around this first banking we go, Hunter Ray getting closer and closer now to the back of Montoya, and just trying to cling on to the Colombian slipstream as best as possible now. Then down this long straight up towards the second banking we go. Is Hunter Ray going to try and grab the lead this time by from Juan Pablo Montoya? A lot more speed around this banking. Is it even close enough still though to try and put a pass on Montoya as they come down the start finish straight now? Then can Hunter Ray grab the lead from Juan Pablo Montoya at this stage of the race? He's not close enough at this stage to try and put a pass, but maybe down this next long straight he could have an opportunity. He's getting closer and closer now then to the back of Montoya. He could even have a go down this straight now then as he tucks up into the slipstream. Montoya now then, he's got to look to the inside. Can Hunter Ray grab the lead from Juan Pablo Montoya down the inside? And yes, he does. Hunter Ray leads at Atlanta Speedway. The e-Power car now leading the race, but Montoya back on the prow of Hunter Ray. Can he try and grab the lead back of Ryan Hunter Ray now? Then he's going to look down to despair, and he gets a taste of his own medicine, just as he did with Pagano. Montoya getting a taste of his own medicine from Ryan Hunter Ray, and now Hunter Ray has quite a comfortable gap in front as he now leads at Atlanta Speedway. Will the curse be over for e-Power in order to grab Ryan Hunter Ray's first and e-Power's first ever IFMC IndyCar win? Well, he's got what lap are we on now then? We've got to have a look. And well, he's now on lap 165 of the race, so that is equivalent to 36 laps to go. He's still got 36 laps to complete, and if it can happen in racing, and it usually does. As meantime, unseen by the cameras, Hildebrand got 4 from Chavez. Had to go at Pagano there, but Pagano covered him off, and now Chavez is trying to get fourth again from him into this first banking as he goes down the inside of JR Hildebrand. Can he grab 4th again from the former championship leader? No, not quite. Hildebrand just has the edge and covers him off to hold on to 4th place from Gabby at this stage. As they now come off the first banking now, then can Gabby try and get him back down this back straight now then as he gets in the slipstream of JR Hildebrand. He's going to look to the inside. Can he pull the move off down the inside? And yes, he does. Chavez retakes 4th from JR Hildebrand, and Hildebrand back down into 5th place now then. But Hildebrand looking to get him back down the pit straight if he can. Pagano looking to close back up onto Montoya after being passed by Hunter Ray earlier. As now they come down this long straight, and Hildebrand gets covered off by Chavez. So Chavez is going to hold off to 4th place at the moment, and now he'll try and catch back up to Pagano for the final podium place if he can. That's Hunter Ray now then, still leading the way now then, as he looks to get his and e-Power's first ever IFMC IndyCar win. As we are 6 minutes away now then from the 3 o'clock mark, for anybody wondering. As now around the second banking we will go on the racetrack now then. Hunter Ray will soon come down this long straight and to start another lap of this track now then, as we will go down the pit straight, as we will now on lap 168 of the race. 33 laps to go then for Ryan Hunter Ray, as we are into the closing stages of this race here at Atlanta Speedway. As Hunter Ray just gets around the second banking now then on the racetrack, as Pagano still too far back to get out of Montoya for second place. And now around the second banking we will now go on the racetrack, as they will soon come down the straight now. Then we go, and so coming down this long straight we go, And so now coming down the straight up towards the first banking, the gap between Pagenaud and Montoya. Let's have a look as they will make their way up towards the first banking. The gap now being, let's have a look, as they go around the first banking, the gap being 0.7 seconds, 0.6 covers Pagenaud and Chavez at the moment. So that's that for them really, as Hildebrand has now dropped off from Chavez and might come under pressure soon from Scott Dixon, who's come from last on the grid. Again, a good recovery drive from the Kiwi as he now tries to grab hold of 5th place from J.R. Hildebrand, the former championship leader, as they make their way around the banking now then, as Dixon tries to get onto the back of him as best as possible down this long straight now. Then we will go on the racetrack. Dixon now then, can he try and get hold of Hildebrand for 5th place now then, up towards the first banking. We will now go up towards the first banking we go, and he isn't quite close enough at the moment to get that move done. And so now as they come around these section of corners now then, Dixon still quite a bit far back at this stage, and it was 16th Power came out of, so still a long way in front of Jones. So Jones sadly hasn't got anybody to battle with in these remaining laps, so it looks like it's going to be a lonely 17th place for Ed Jones in the Target Andy Graham racing car. Back with Ryan Hunter-Reay now then, who's still leading the way after taking the lead from Montoya just a few laps ago now then, as he starts another lap now then. We now have 30 laps to go for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's on a lap 171 of 200, 30 to go for Ryan Hunter-Reay in the e-Power car to take his and e-Power's first ever IFMC IndyCar win. As now they go down this long straight, Montoya continuing to drop off now from Ryan Hunter-Reay. Might come under threat from Simon Pagenaud very soon, but we'll wait and see on that. As now going around the second banking, we will now go on the racetrack, heading down this long straight, as they will soon come up towards the first banking themselves. And now up towards the first banking we go on the racetrack, and Hunter-Reay continuing to stamp his authority and try and get his first ever victory if he can. As now they go down this long straight now they're on the track, as now up towards the second banking we go. And so now they will come down the straight now then very soon, and down the straight we go, and then they will soon approach the first banking on the track. And so now around the first banking we go, and he's got a 1.1 second cushion now to Juan Pablo Montoya. Very big lead, it must be said, as we're on lap 173 of the race now then. So we now have specifically 28 laps to go for Ryan Hunter-Reay in the e-Power car. And obviously, if it stays like this, of course, Etihad, of course, because this is an Etihad-owned team, e-Power, you can tell by the font, of course, of their logo. If it stays like this, then Etihad will become the first team in the IFMC fraternity to win in all 4 categories. Win a race in all 4 categories. They've won races, of course, in the top class. That's why they're 4-time champions in that. They've won races in GP2. They've won, I think, 2 races when they were in the first ever season of IFMC GP3 before they pulled out to focus on this GP2 and the top class. And now it looks like if Ryan Hunter-Reay can keep it up, he can finally get the team's first ever victory in IFMC IndyCar, and Etihad will finally become the first team to win in all four series. So it'll be an impressive achievement for the Emirates-based team, as now Hunter-Reay now then just goes around the first banking as he continues to increase his lead at the front of the field, as he now has 26 laps to go in this race now then. Meantime, what's going on behind? Not really much is happening in the top 5 at the moment. Dixon's not really getting onto Hildebrand as much as he would have anticipated at the moment. The Kiwi clearly expecting more at the moment, but that's obviously not going to happen at the moment, as he just makes his way around the second banking on the racetrack. So just going around these section of corners now, then they will go on the racetrack. That's Hunter-Reay now then, just going around the corner. And obviously just going out of that second banking then will go Ryan Hunter-Reay at the minute, as he goes down this long straight, approaching the second banking very soon on the track. Excuse me, I had to take a drink there. I've been commentating for a while. 1 more minute to go now then till we reach the 3 o'clock mark. And we would have been on the air for 2 hours, which is not bad for an IndyCar race because it usually lasts around this time anyway. IndyCar does, unless you're at Talladega, of course, which took forever. We're now at the 3 o'clock mark, so we've been on there now for just over 2 hours. And as meantime, now then, Ryan Hunter-Reay is just coming around the second banking again, as we're still in the closing stage of this race. He will have 23 laps to go once he crosses the line, as he's about to start lap 178 of 200 now, then 23 to go for the American, as he now makes his way up towards the first banking for the 178th time today. So now, just going around this first banking now, then heading down this back straight now then, and as you can see, these cars still trying to chase him down at this stage, as Dixon looks to try and grab 5th from J.R. Hildebrand at the minute. As now around the corner we go, around this banking now, then we go on the racetrack, and so now around this the banking we go at the moment, as everybody just kind of settling down into a little bit of a rhythm. It seems some of them just trying to get now to the end of the race. As Hunter-Reay now then around this first banking he goes. He's still got a 1.1 second cushion in front of Juan Pablo Montoya at the moment, and 22 laps to go for Ryan Hunter-Reay, as he continues to lead the way out in front at the moment. As meantime, at the moment, as mentioned, not really much happening at the moment. Alonso currently in 11th. He's got a little bit extra in the tank, try and get into the top 10, but it looks like it's just going to be a disastrous race for both Alonso and defending champion Sebastian Bourdais. They'll want to move on to Watkins Glen next weekend as quick as possible, really. As Hunter-Reay now then just going around the first banking on the racetrack, as he makes his way down this long straight now, then we will go, and so now up towards the second banking we go. So Ryan Hunter-Reay now then going around this banking, as he'll soon come down the long straight, and Ryan Hunter-Reay now then up towards the first banking he will soon go, as he continues to lead the way at this stage, and looking good for his first ever victory. So he just goes around this first banking, doing a fabulous job. He obviously said 20 to go for the American, and just stamping his authority at the moment. As mentioned, everybody's just trying to take it easy now in these remaining laps, just trying to get the cars to the end of the race. As Hunter-Reay now then just comes out of that final banking, as he comes down the straight to start another lap. 19 to go now then for Hunter-Reay, as now up towards the second banking now then he goes on the racetrack, as Hunter-Reay now then continues to lead the way as he soon comes down this long straight. I do apologise if you hear me having to cough up a bit. I've got a little bit of croaky voice from commentating for a while. And now Alonso now then still in length. Looks like Bourdais looks like he's going to be putting him under a bit of pressure, so Bourdais could still try and grab a position or two from Alonso at the moment. So Alonso could still come under a little bit of pressure in these closing stages of the race. As now Montoya, as you can see riding on board, you can definitely tell from the look of on board and just how much Hunter-Reay has pulled away ever since he got the pass done on Juan Pablo Montoya. And well, that was that really. Is now approaching the second banking. We will soon go on the racetrack, as now around that banking we go, and so now coming out of that second banking as they soon go down that straight. And as you can see, it doesn't look like Montoya's got enough in him to try and get Hunter-Reay at this stage. Hunter-Reay looking good for the win, unless something happens to his car, which we don't wish upon anyone, but it could still happen, and if it could happen in racing, and it usually does. Heading down this long straight now then before approaching the second banking on the track, and doing whatever he can to see if he can try and pull something out of the bag and get his first ever IFMC IndyCar win. But doesn't look like that's going to be happening today. Might have to wait a little bit longer before he can finally get his moment of glory. As now heading down this long straight we go. On the track now then up towards the first banking we go. As now around this first banking, And just to get an idea of the gap, it's 1.2 seconds. So, in fact, Hunter Ray pulled another 10th on Montoya from the last time we checked on the gap. So it just gives you an indication of how much much Hunter Ray is flying in this race ever since he took the lead. And well, trying to prove a point really, as he now comes down this long straight. The pair of them now go to start lap 186 of 200 now then, so 15 laps to go here at Atlanta Speedway for Ryan Hunter-Reay, as Dixon still not on the back of Hildebrand as much as he would have wanted to, as he looks to still try and grab 5th in this race, see if he can try and grab a little bit more before the race ends, and still not really doing that at this stage, as the two Fantasia cars look very lonely in 8th and 9th, both making good recovery drives from 17th and 20th on the grid respectively. Very good comebacks from the pair of them to get themselves in the top 10, but still not ideally where the pair of them want to be. And so that's pretty much that for them really, as far as they are concerned. And so now we come down this long straight. Now they're on the track. Ryan Hunter-Reay still leading the way. He makes his way around this banked corner. Sorry, the banked turn, the first banking on the track as they come down this straight. And so now we approach the second banking on the racetrack. Hunter-Reay now then still continuing to lead the way at the moment, as he will soon come down the straight. And Hunter-Reay now then down the straight, heading up towards the next corner on the track. So Hunter-Reay now then still leading the way, as they will now approach the next banking on the track, this left-hander. And so now coming off the turn, as there is Montoya now then, still got a few cars behind him at the moment, but a little bit too far back for him at the moment. So at best Montoya looks like he's going to finish in second place in this race, gifting Red Rose Racing another podium, and that could really help him out at the moment, because Montoya's not had the best season, must be said, all the way down in 19th in the Drivers' Championship I think he's in. So this will really give him a really big boost in the championship, it must be said. Yeah, so that will be that for him really, as far as he is concerned. And, that's pretty much that for him really, as Hunter-Reay now makes his way up towards the second banking on the racetrack, as the laps continue to tumble down in this race now then, heading down the straight. And as you can see, Hunter-Reay just coming down the straight now then, and he's about to start lap 190 of 200. 11 laps to go for Ryan Hunter-Reay, as he's now got a 1.3 second lead in front of Juan Pablo Montoya. So he pulled another 10th on the Colombian, and he's continuing to fly out in front at the moment, and hasn't really looked like a sign of weakness from Ryan Hunter-Reay since he took the lead. And well, he's doing a phenomenal job, it must be said, from 12th on the grid. Fantastic ride from the American, it must be said, in this race. And well, we've got to give him praise for that as a result. And well, a very good drive from him. Nonetheless, as he just goes around the first banking on the track. As meantime, Scott Dixon looks like he's starting to fall back now from J.R. Hildebrand, so maybe just easing off the pace a little bit and just possibly settling for those 25 points he's currently holding on to at the moment, which could bring him back in the championship fight, but we'll wait and see. As Sato still putting immense pressure on Alexander, well, falling back I should say now from Alexander Rossi. He's not really putting any pressure on at all. I thought it was, but then on second glance he wasn't. So that's that really, as now Ryan Hunter-Reay approaches the first banking on the racetrack. And now just 9 to go for the American. As meantime, everybody else just settling into a bit of a rhythm. Bordet still putting Alonso on a bit of pressure, but at the moment has not been able to find a way through on the 3-time IFMC champion at this stage of the race. As they now just go up towards the first banking on the racetrack. And now around the corner he goes, as he will soon come out of that banking now there on the racetrack. And that's that really as far as he is concerned. As we now look at Juan Pablo Montoya now heading down the long straight, as Pagano still tries to put pressure on Montoya. And so now Now around this first banking we will go on the racetrack, and so now heading down this long straight, and up towards the second banking now then we'll go Ryan Hunter-Reay at the minute, and so now heading out of that turn now, they're heading down the straight, and so Ryan Hunter-Reay still leading the way at the moment, as doesn't seem to be putting a foot on. 7 to go for the American now then, as he just feeds his way around the first banking now then for the 194th time today, and still leading the way at the moment from Montoya, Pagenaud, Chavez, and then of course Hildebrand rounding out the top 5 with Dixon close behind as well. And I think it's Rahal in 7th place at this stage of the race, with Rossi 8th, Sato 9th, and then who's rounding out the top 10? I think it might be Wickens. I'm not 100% sure, but Wickens has also fell back a bit after the pit stops. It seems it's not really worked out for him at the moment, as now around the first banking then we'll go Ryan Hunter-Reay, and now heading down the straight we will soon go on the racetrack, and now up towards the second straight, where am I going? The second banking we will soon go on the racetrack, as they will soon come down the straight, and so now heading down this straight now then we will soon go, as Ryan Hunter-Reay starts lap 196, so 5 laps to go for Ryan Hunter-Reay, and the laps just coming down and coming down for the American driver. And so now heading down the straight now then we go on the racetrack, as the laps continue to tumble down in this race, as Andretti looks like he's going to be starting to put some pressure from Chilton. What a change of a race Chilton has had, starting from the front row, losing time in the pit lane, and only down in 13th at the moment, so really struggling, it must be said, at this stage of the race. So really struggling now, and well, that's pretty much that for him really. They're also, as Bourdais and Alonso look like they still could scrap it out, as they're trying to get onto the back of Robert Wickens' adrenaline car. So that's pretty much that for them really, as Bourdais still trying to get up close to the back of Alonso, and could he possibly have a go up towards the first banking very soon? It doesn't look like he's going to be close enough, so he's going to hang back for the moment, as Alonso looks to try and hold him off as best as possible now then around this first banking. And yeah, so looks like he's Bourdais might have to settle down soon if he's unable to get him in these remaining few laps of the race now then. Ryan Hunter-Reay back with the race leader, 3 laps to go now then as he crosses the line. 3 laps to go for him and E-Power to take their first ever IFMC IndyCar win, as now round the first banking we go, as they will now make their way down this long straight. And at this stage, if it stays like this, I'm not going to try and jinx them, but it looks like at last E-Power actually get both cars to get both their cars across the line this season, so that will be an achievement for them. Even though Alonso is down 11th, it's still him finishing the race, just picking up the points as best as he can for his championship, as he's currently in the fight, it must be said, but how far back he will be after this race I'm not 100% sure. Behind Simon Pagenaud, who's looking likely to take the lead in the Drivers' Championship, as Hunter-Reay has now started the penultimate lap of the race now then. Lap 199 he has just started, and Hunter-Reay is getting ever closer and closer to finally giving Etihad another bit of history, as now around the second banking goes Ryan Hunter-Reay after an amazing race it's been. Ryan Hunter-Reay is about to start his final lap here at Atlanta Speedway. What a race it's been for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He started in 12th position, made a lot of places up at the start, and kind of kept himself quiet for a little bit. It was only after the second round of stops he came alive and started fighting for the podium places. First picking off Chavez, then using the momentum to pick off Pagenaud, and then within the next few laps he was able to get Montoya and pulled a big gap. And if he can just keep this up, he is looking good to take his and E-Power's first ever IFMC IndyCar victory, as he rounds the final banking now then, coming down this long straight, and at long last the drought will be over for the Emirates team, as coming down the straight it is going to be Ryan Hunter-Reay who wins at Atlanta Speedway in Atlanta, Georgia. Congratulations to him and the E-Power team. He takes his and the team's first ever IFMC IndyCar win. Etihad become the first team in history to win in all 4 series, And what an achievement for them indeed. Another bit of history for them. Ryan Hunter-Reay finishes in 2nd, Simon Pagenaud 3rd, Gary Chavez 4th, J.R. Hildebrand 5th, Scott Dixon 6th, Graham Rahal 7th, Will Power 16th, Alexander Rossi 8th, Takuma Sato 9th, Robert Wickens 10th, Bourdais got Alonso and Elam to get in 11th, Alonso 12th, Andretti 13th, Chilton 14th, Jones 17th, and Kanaan 15th. But in the end, it is Ryan Hunter-Reay who is the winner. Here at Atlanta Speedway, he takes his and E-Power's first ever IFMC IndyCar win, and it's been a long time coming for them indeed. After a tricky Season 3-4 for them, they have finally achieved something that they have been craving for. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here is the results of a cracking race here at Atlanta Speedway, the final over race of the season. Ryan Hunter-Reay won the race, Juan Pablo Montoya 2nd, it is Simon Pagenaud 3rd, Gabby Chavez 4th, J.R. Hildebrand 5th, with Scott Dixon 6th, Graham Rahal 7th, Alexander Rossi 8th, with Takuma Sato 9th, Robert Wickens 10th, Sebastian Bourdais 11th, Fernando Alonso 12th. Finally, E-Power getting both cars across the line, although it's a lonely 12th for Alonso. Marco Andretti 13th, Max Chilton all the way down in 14th after losing out in the pit stops. And if we scroll down to the rest of the field, it's Tony Kanaan 15th, Will Power 16th, and Ed Jones, the last of the finishers, in 17th position. The 5 retirements of the race were as follows: Helio Castroneves, Joseph Newgarden, Pietro Fittipaldi, Felix Rosenquist, and James Hinchcliffe. They were the retirements of the race here at Atlanta Speedway. Let's see who set the fastest lap of the race then, who's going away with the bonus point. And it was Marco Andretti with a 28.179. So along with the with that lonely position he gets, he will add another point to that, a bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. He was 1/10 quicker than Helio Castroneves in the end there then. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it from the race here at Atlanta Speedway. Hope you enjoyed it. It has been a very entertaining race, and some history has been created yet again in IFMC. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, next weekend back on a road course. The oval races have now finished this season. We will see you then, guys, next weekend at the Watkins Glen International at Watkins Glen, New York, for the penultimate round of the Season 4-5 IFMC IndyCar Championship. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys next weekend at Watkins Glen International. Till then, take care.